Hello and welcome to Roll For It for episode 3 of Avatar Legends RPG. Welcome everyone. We got some announcements to get to and all that kind of thing, and then we'll get to the show, continue our misadventures in Ba Sing Se. Not many announcements this time. We just got a couple things going on Patreon. We got the monthly recap and the character sheets for this show, Avatar, are now out on the Patreon for you to check out, so you can get all the details. Which reminds me, sorry guys, I've minimized a bunch of like non-essential things in your sheets. Feel free to reopen them. I forgot to mention that sooner.
How dare you have done things?
In case you all opened your sheets and were like, I don't remember closing this. What the hell?
There's no way.
I am very upset. I
did
can't
not
believe
notice
that.
anything being opened.
Inconsolable.
This is what I do to everyone at the beginning and end of a campaign, is I just go in and ruin their sheets arrangements and like open everything and close everything so I can get the right images. But you can now check out those on the Patreon, as well as the monthly recap, where the admins talk about how things went in October. Yes, that is the month before this one. I know how the months work and what time it is sometimes. You can also, there's some stuff coming up on the Patreon as well. We've got the NPC name submissions for the month will be coming up in the next couple of days. And also a whole bunch of Ascension gubbins. There's tons of like character sheets and behind the scenes things that he's been giving me faster than I can actually put them out on the Patreon. So just expect lots of general awesome Ascension stuff in the coming week. We're also sponsored by Roll20. We use Roll20 to run all of our RPGs, because it's got support for every different kind of RPG that you can think of, and like if you can pay for it, someone's probably made a sheet for it, and they've probably made sheets for some that are free too. In fact, I mean, technically Avatar is currently free, it's only the quick start, and so someone made a sheet for that straight off the bat, so it's great, super convenient, and it really helps that it's got a good community to support it and make it work with all these different RPGs. So that's why we use it. We also sometimes do giveaways of things for Roll20, like copies of like PDFs of books that you can get on Roll20. So check out our Twitter from time to time, see if there's a pinned tweet about any current giveaways that are going on. And also, in the next week or so, we're going to be putting up a post on the Patreon, another Patreon thing, for you to submit some details to get a special gift for the holidays, so keep an eye out for that as well. We'll tweet about it and everything when it happens, of course, but just giving you a heads up so you can do the thing. But that's the announcements. Let's talk about how you can support Roll For It. The main way that we are funded, the main way that we are able to pay for all of the things, and there are many things involved in paying for shows. The main thing, of course, being making sure all the cast are what's the word? I can't think of the word. Paid. I was gonna think of a fancier word for paid, but I can't think of it. So to make sure they're all paid for their work.
I was gonna say, are you looking for compensated?
That's the one. I was like, my brain was like, it's in there somewhere. I was trying to find the bits of words and was like, recompense? That's not right. That's not the one.
Revenged.
They demand satisfaction.
Yeah, to make sure everyone's properly compensated for their work, and we super appreciate everyone who supports us on Patreon and all the other places too, because it allows us to do that as much as possible. But yes, you can support us on Patreon. There's a whole bunch of different tiers on Patreon that give you a whole bunch of different rewards, including but not limited to everything of all of our shows, after shows we record after every show, where we talk about what happens in the show, character sheets like the ones we just posted, enemy stats and GM secrets and things that you can see, like behind the scenes stuff about the enemies we face and the maps we traverse and things like that. Plenty of that always coming out from Ascension. He's just constantly feeding me various sheets and things for me to post. You can also watch the monthly recaps when the admins talk about the events of the previous month, how everything's going for all the shows at the moment. You can watch interviews where we interview cast members and GMs about well, whatever people want to interview them about. We opened up to viewer question submissions. They're usually about RPGs. Sometimes the ones they've run, sometimes other ones as well. You can also submit names for NPCs. They'll get used randomly throughout our shows to wherever is suitable. And if you're crazy, you can support at Legend tier, at which point you get to support an episode every month personally, and you also get to take part in a once monthly RPG session There's an off-camera game gemmed by a member of the Roll For It cast that you get to be a part of. Just some random cool one-shot.
London is the GM this time, right?
Yep, I think the game's not happened yet, but it's coming up, or maybe it's like literally about to happen. I'm not sure. When is it happening? Can't remember now. Hey, it's not happened yet. Oh, it's happening tomorrow. There you go. Yeah. So our RPG for this month of Legends is London jamming. I think Call of Cthulhu tomorrow for them. It's awesome. You can also support us in other places too. Of course, you can do the Twitch things. You can drop us bits for the moment, and they appear in the cup, and you can try and fill that cup or empty that cup as much as you like. People have been having cup wars recently about the opposing factions of the filled cup faction and the empty cup faction. I've been duking it out in the chat, which we appreciate. But yeah, you can just fire some bits upwards into the cup this time. I flipped it upside down. It seemed appropriate. You're like bending the bits. You're like throwing them. Yeah. It's like when you show up at what is it, the Western Air Temple, and you're like, oh, it's upside down. That's cool. Okay. It's like it's the thing you know, but in the complete inverse. You can also give us tips. They appear on the screen. We read them out at the end of the show to thank you. Thank you for being awesome and supporting the episode. And you can also subscribe, of course, on Twitch, which gives you motes and badges, and it also gives you immediate access to the VODs. Whereas normally we'd have to wait 24 hours just to upload the VODs over on YouTube. Speaking of YouTube, you can become a YouTube member over there. Being a YouTube member, Twitch subscriber, or Patreon supporter all give you access to the Discord, where you can hang out with us and other fans of the show, talk about all things Roll For It, and some things not. A bunch of rooms in there for all the different shows and a bunch of other stuff too. Also lots of places for people to like come together and organize games and other community stuff. We always appreciate people coordinating wiki work in the wiki room in there, and we also love it when people post clips and GIFs in the clips and GIFs room, because we like to use those for our tweets and stuff. So if you make cool clips, then we can put those on the Twitches, and people can see the cool stuff that we do. Also, because of how sub-only VODs work, you gotta clip as it happens, which is weird. We wish it wasn't like that, but it is what it is. So you gotta clip the moments as soon as they happen, and then you can always edit them after the show, is what I do. If you don't want to miss anything. But you can also clip on YouTube as well, so I'm told, and that works at any time. There's no time limit on that one. And we appreciate those too. I don't know if we can put those in tweets in the same way, but we'll try, damn it. Yeah, you can also support us just by being here, just by showing that you're already helping out. You press all the buttons. That also helps, apart from the ones that say unfollow and unsubscribe. Don't hit those ones. But otherwise, all the buttons around the player are generally a good thing. Especially because I think did they get rid of the dislike button on YouTube now? I heard they were doing that.
Not
or they were
yet.
like hiding
Yeah,
the
they
dislikes.
were gonna do it, but they haven't.
Yeah.
They haven't yet.
Which is it just like everyone keeps disliking the YouTube rewind. We're gonna hide the button now, so no one can do that anymore.
What's weird is, like, once you like something, I'm like, for me, when I look at like the like versus dislike, like the like button has like a thumbs up with the number, and then the dislike says dislike next to it. It's really weird.
Okay, so there's still a button, but now you can't like only the channel owner can probably see how many people.
Only
dislike now.
positivity. Only positivity. That's all.
No, I'm looking at this as like not the channel owner.
Well, yeah, like if you're not the channel owner, you can't see it, but if you are the channel owner, you can probably see the number of dislikes.
Oh yeah, you just see the button
And
that says.
that's gonna
dislike.
ruin
I
the
gotcha.
time-honored meme of like the 8 people who dislike this video must be, and then bad guys in the movie it's a
Dude,
clip from or whatever. I'm gonna miss
The
that
weirdest
meme.
thing for me is like when you're doing charity stuff. Like I did a charity thing recently, and there's like people who dislike something that's like from a hospital, and the hospital's talking about how much help that they've gotten, and it's like, who's disliking this? What
I feel
evil
like-
being
I
is
feel like
disliking
there are
this?
bots that go around and dislike everything, or there are people that are just
Oh.
like, I'm the only dislike on this video that everybody loves. I'm important. Something I don't know how it works, but people do that. It's
Who
fine. Whatever.
knows?
Like, if you're getting dislikes,
good
it means
way.
you're getting enough views. To like, that's how it works for me. It's like I've got some old videos that have got like 100 views and they don't have dislikes, and I'm like, that's bad. That means no one's watched it. Like if you get enough people watching it that you get some dislikes, then you're doing all right. That's my rule of thumb. You gotta go with that. It's like when people try and farm like subscribers off you on Twitch. That means you're doing well. You've won. Anyway, so yeah, you can support us by pressing all the buttons. Even I think the dislike button. I think if you press that, it still like counts as an engagement point. So it's fine. It's like the important thing is that you're the more buttons you press, the more the websites like us and the algorithms go burr and put us in more places where people can see.
Yeah, but it's
and we
not a
super
good
appreciate that.
part of the algorithm if you get don't hit the dislike button.
I mean, we'd prefer you hit the like button, but I don't think it actually matters. I think that was the...
Don't listen to
I think it
Bentham.
matters. Don't
Do
listen
not
to
Click
listen
on the
to
ads.
Bentham.
Click on all the ads, and then
Well,
they'll really like us.
Yeah,
because
if you click the
it
ads,
is.
they'll
It's
really
like,
like
oh,
us.
people don't like this. This is great. It's getting us views. Like the websites don't care.
That's not how it works.
We prefer we prefer you hit the like button, but you know.
This
Ben-
is the deepest hole I've ever seen.
What?
Bentham.
That's what I'm
This
saying. It's like
dislike
it's all engagement. The
conversation.
websites don't care. It's like
his laptop.
I was telling them about the nightmare that is keeping my laptop alive in the pre-show. You don't want to know. It's horrible. So yeah, you can press all the buttons. We appreciate it. You can also tell a friend, bring them along too. That just cuts out the middleman, and brings more people to the channel. We appreciate it. But that's all the things. Let's hand it over to the GM. So that I stop talking because I think that's probably best for everybody.
I think it might be. Yeah.
No. There's a backhoe around the corner that we can come over. Let's just see what happens. No. We're fine. Great. Hello. So let's get into it. When we last left our session, we were kind of in the middle of a gala, this little fancy party in the upper ring of Ba Sing Se, and I think we'll stick there for a little bit because there's some unfinished business that we might want to resolve, and we'll see kind of where that plays out and where things go as a
Should we do our
result.
starting thingies?
Yeah, we're gonna do some
Okay.
starting session moves. So off screen in the after show stuff, we did our end of session moves. So in this game, there are a couple things you do at the start of every session, and there's some things you do at the end of every session. Not all, you won't have to do all of them all the time. And some of these things are based around what playbooks are in the game as well. What character types. So the only start of session move that we need to resolve right now, I think, is for Quan for the Protector's Burden. So Delight is still your ward. So you're going to roll 2d6 as usual and add +1 for each yes to these questions. Do you believe that Delight listens to you more often than not?
I would say previously not, but more recently, yes. So
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, because we're
Yeah.
always, that relationship is always evolving.
Yeah.
Have you recently protected them or helped them with a problem?
I tried to protect them emotionally. I don't know if that counts.
I think that counts. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly with the second half, from the problem is like you tried to keep the worst of Song Delight's father is like pushiness off of her.
Yeah, I tried to be like, she's doing the things that you're asking. Look, she's dressing up with her friends. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. Is there an immediate threat to your ward that you are aware of?
Yes. And I'm watching it go down right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
You just
low.
watched that immediate threat. So go ahead and roll
Walk
and add
away.
+3.
Okay. I'm like in the corner. The whole time we've been in this scene, I have not said anything. I've just been watching. Like I'm just
Mhm.
like a creeper following them around. 11. Ooh, I had a
Sounds like a
+3 to that too.
Oh, spicy. Okay, so on a 10+, you get 2 hold, which you can spend during this session. 2, take 10+ on any move to defend or protect Delight, which you did last time, which is great. Track down Delight even if she is avoiding or hidden. avoiding you or hidden from you, or figure out what Delight is up to without her knowing. So that's what you've got going on. Everybody else is all squared away. For Delight, we gave you some resources as a result of
Yes.
that early conversation with your brother Justice. I think we're gonna let you hang on to that because we didn't really get a chance to kind of explore. It's usually by session, but I think we're still in the same fictional space.
Sure, the fictional space is
We'll
the
let
same.
you throw that money around if you want.
So I have three.
Is the
three
GM not
resource
merciful?
points?
Yeah. And aside from that, yeah. Cool. So what we just saw, to kind of bring us back previously on Avatar Legends. A little string sting. We were at this party, which is sort of the Chen family. We learned is this very influential, very powerful, very wealthy group within the upper ring of Ba Sing Se, who has it's a little unclear where their position is. They're like socialites. They know a lot of people. They're very well connected, but they've recently been expanding into the military for some reason. And we know that they have some kind of advanced technology that they're developing, which they may be providing to the military, some kind of contracting, which Justice, Delight's eldest brother, has some control over. This party is sort of a look at how generous we are kind of thing, but it's also doing double duty as Delight is, now eligible to be a participant in high society now and is expected to be responsible and therefore see our bounty and also come and try and curry favor with this new noblewoman who you're going to have to deal with, who you might want to try and influence or might want to give reason to have allies politically. What we saw was Li Jing, the Minister of Morale here in Ba Sing Se, had a very terse sideways conversation with Delight in so many layers of innuendo about responsibility and what things are going on, and I know what you're doing. Do you really want to do this? Back and forth, social dueling. Loved it.
It was ridiculous.
It was very
tones
very
in
interesting conversation.
Both sides of the conversation were very calculated. It was great.
So I think where we're going to pick up is Li Jing drifted away from you. It was like, all right, we're done here. We're not going to press this any further. And Quan had been watching for any signs of danger. And Chi and Jian had also been watching from the sidelines on a different angle. So I think if you want, this would be a good time to kind of reconvene all of you somewhere quiet if you wanted to talk. Otherwise, I can throw a monkey wrench into everything.
Are there three dudes?
It's whatever you want to do. What's that?
What
Are
about
there three dudes looking for them? The three guys that were hitting on them?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
so there were three
no.
guys that were trying to flirt with Chi and Jian, who have
was
sort
the
of been
best
like, you know
part.
what? Clearly you've got other things going on. We'll let you go, but you know where to find us if you want to, come back and make our acquaintance a little bit better. But
make our acquaintance a little bit. Yeah.
We're
Oh,
just pretending
joy.
we're in the bathroom and it's fine.
Yeah,
Right.
I definitely think once Li Chang leaves or walks away, Delight's first move is trying to make eye contact with all her friends, and bring everybody together.
Yeah.
Quan will follow.
Delight sort of gives the I'm going this way,
Right.
yeah.
Surreptitiously gesturing.
And sort of steps off to a little side area, not away from the party because that would be rude, but in a corner.
And they're probably
yeah.
the closest. So I will be there the quickest.
Indeed.
And follow and be like,
Well, what did he have to say? It seems the conversation went well.
Well, I mean, he couldn't really do anything while he was here, but he knows what happened, and I don't think he's really that happy about it.
I figured he might recognize you.
I didn't really see that there was any point in denying it, so I kind of just said, and, you know, like, what's he gonna do here, now, in this party? Nothing. He can't.
It would be unwise of him, that is certain. But perhaps what he has planned is much worse.
Possibly. But I can't worry about that right now. And I assume the other two are gonna, like, you know,
We'll
arrive.
slowly make our way through. First, I'll do
Yeah.
the girl hook in the arm hook movement and go, let us go. What was Bentham? What was your girl name?
It was Jin. It was Jin.
Jin.
yeah,
Jin.
it was
Yes,
not very
Jin.
far from his name. Jin and Orchid.
We're just
yes.
like darting from.
We're
Like,
gonna- you're
group
gonna
to
hear it
group,
like a
keeping an eye out for the three.
Us, yeah, we're kind of like looking. Can we actually do a look around while we're moving over carcashly?
sure.
Like we're like, oh, did you hear about Whisper? Do you see anything on the east side of you? Look behind my shoulder. Is there anybody looking? Like kind of trying to covertly, comically look
Yeah,
for danger.
you're like gossiping with big gestures, but you're using those gestures to look around the room at the same time, right?
Mm.
Yeah, I mean I think the three just nightmare boys are like like they catch your eye briefly and they like wave their fingers, and that's kind of the extent of it, that they're like,
smile
hey.
and nod and wave and then sidle away rapidly.
Yes.
right, you're like, oh, they're still busy, and they're like, all right, whatever.
Okay, bye.
I think you see Li Jing like drifting away into the crowd and just sort of like instantly picks up with a group of other government officials as though like nothing has happened. It's just like laughing and smiling and clearly like a little rattled, because you've seen kind of both sides. I think there's like a little bit of a stiffness to the smile that's kind of pasted on, but everyone else obviously is not paying that much attention, so they're like, oh yeah, of course, whatever. It's so nice to see you, come on over here.
With Simon, I have a
yes.
question. Did he try the cabbage rolls?
Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
I think like on the like you, as you're talking, you watch Li Jing like take a few steps,
Yeah.
and then like look over at a tray, pause for like a good 3 seconds, and then very deliberately pluck one up,
That's how I
and
know I made an impact.
crunch it.
All right.
And there's like a little head cock of like a as he goes
Well,
on.
now I want one.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Cabbage wrap
rolls.
sounds so good right now.
Does.
Something.
Ah.
But I don't think that
Omega.
you notice anything out of the ordinary in this party. Like it's there's so much going on. I think here are my questions to you, actually. What is something that stands out the most to both of you? Because you've never seen this much money in one room at the same time, let alone like these many people. Like what is let's frame this for your characters. What's something that you want, that you wish you had here, Chi? Because you're this like
Ooh.
bold smuggler, you've come from humble beginnings, you want to be someone like big and important. What makes you like envious in this room of what these people have?
So they're
frustrated.
Not frustrated. There's somebody that just basically Chi sees as what he thinks the pinnacle of wealth is. Just somebody who's like really just like thick, with lots of rings on their finger, and necklaces and jewels, just like the typical like has wealth in both girth and on display. Like
Yeah.
that's the person like just she thinks is what wealthy is. Just look like in gaudy colors, bright gaudy silks and stuff like that. And she's like, that's what I want to be.
Yeah, there's a well-fed noble who's like, I don't have to lift a finger. The most work I do every day is occasionally like putting a wax seal on a letter that says this is something I approve. Who's got that dripping in jewelry, is wearing silks, as you said, and like a variety of colors too. I think that's the other thing that you're noticing is like they're wearing gold and turquoise, and like white, not just kind of beige, but like white silks. It's like a really interesting mix of these different things that nobody else nobles are kind of wearing pieces, but it's something that like Feng Ma might design aspirationally, and this person's wearing it like, oh yeah, this old thing, I've had it in my closet for 2 years, I never get a chance to wear it, I thought I might as well air it out or something like that. It was just like in the lap of luxury. For Jian, what is something about this whole display that feeds into your anger? I could probably think of at least one thing off the top of my head, which is that like these people don't care about what you've seen.
Yeah, there's definitely that kind of underlying it all. I think the thing that stands out to Jan at the moment is like, what is with all these games? Why do people come here and then talk about irrelevant things, but like both knowing like he's witnessed this conversation between Delight and I forgot his name.
Li Zhang.
Li Jing.
Li Zhang, yeah, between Delight and Li Zhang, and he's like, they both know what's going on. Like, right? He knows that Delight was there and ruined the thing, and they're just having this conversation about like, oh, what's best for the Earth Kingdom, and like just in the middle of a ballroom, and that's just how it works here. This is just what people do in Ba Sing Se.
Yeah, I think that's part of what you notice as you're like drifting along with Chi. Chi is like enthralled with this wealthy person who's just like, oh, right, like roarous laughter and glittering with all of this opulent wealth. And what you're seeing is you're like overhearing these conversations of people who are just talking so indirectly about things. They don't have to, but they're doing it anyway. And like half the people here seem to know that something is up, and the rest don't care or don't know. Like, oh, what do you think of the news? Oh, the news. Well, the news is like using poetry as metaphors and things like that. And the rest are like, can you believe I had to walk a block from over here? Like the carriage lost an axle and I had to walk, and these shoes are not meant for walking. I can stand in them, but walking on those cobblestones in these, it's murder on my heels. So it's just like the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Like,
yeah, it's like what are these people doing? They're just wasting time.
So I think that these things are kind of rolling around in the backs of your skulls as you rejoin the conversation. So what do you do?
When I first go, Delight, it looks like the coast is clear, but oh my gosh, if words could like slap somebody in the face, you did a good job.
I was real nervous. Like Delight looks like, you know, she's coming down off like an actual combat, you know, more than a conversation.
Adrenaline high.
So
yeah.
What happens now? Like, he knows, right?
Well, he knows about me, but I don't know if he knows about you or Chi or Quan necessarily.
This guy seems to be working for now, but like, is he
well,
gonna?
you know, I mean, right here it's working, but I also don't know, like, during, you know, the event, if you would have been recognized. I have this problem with, you know, high profile sort of a situation.
Like, are you in trouble now? I don't. Can you?
Something will happen, but I'm not a. She like
I'm
sighs.
sure, as I see that she's having the struggle, Quan kind of just steps in, and it's almost like she was standing there the whole time, but you didn't really realize because she's so quiet. And Quan says,
Well, I think the way that Li Jing plans things is a bit more calculated. Whatever retaliation he has in store, well, it won't be done here. At least not in the open.
Delight sort of nods along with what Quan is saying, and then says, "You're right. But he's the kind of person who will go through whatever official channels he has available to make his complaints, you know, later. And given that this whole party was, hey, Delight, take responsibility for being in the Chen family, I don't know how that's going to go necessarily. The only thing that's saving us is that his whole experiment or tea distillery thing, that whole thing was secret. So he can't really talk about it like openly, you know? We're sort of protected, or I'm at least a little protected by the fact that nobody can really know that the thing that we broke even existed.
But we want people to know. Is there, like, if he doesn't want it to get out, then surely we want it to get out. Even if that does mean that, like, the knowledge that you broke it got out, but then the fact that you broke it is a good thing.
She nods along with what you're saying, and then says, "Well, yeah, but I mean, like, for what he's gonna do. Obviously, we want people to know." She tries to be slightly less animated than she's being currently, so that she doesn't draw as much attention. You see her like go like, "Oh, shouldn't have said that as loud as I did."
Surely there's someone at this party that we can, like, tell about what Li Zhang is doing, and then they can do something about it. Right?
Probably. Yeah. Can I, like, try and identify maybe some individuals that I may have come across before or, like, know about who would be good targets for this?
Yeah, absolutely.
Simon, like, at a distance?
Yeah, so people who might be sympathetic to quote unquote government corruption, what's the angle you were looking for?
Yeah, like that if there were somebody that I could tell about the Minister of was it Minister of Morale?
Yes.
Doing something illegal, you know? Somebody who would be like sympathetic to that and not think I was crazy. You know?
Right.
Because again, this is my party. We're gonna take advantage as much
exactly
as I can.
Right. Let's see.
So that's my thought.
Yeah, for sure.
Because then I can direct who Gian and Chi should talk to and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think you totally, because you're pretty you're well connected in your family at this up to this point, and I think that you've had some introductions already made prior to what we saw on screen.
Yeah.
Let's say that I'm going to turn it back to you. Who's someone that Justice introduced you to earlier who was like, oh, this person actually seems like they're on the money.
Okay, so they're definitely not a Chen, because I was tempted to be like another sibling, but no, we're not going to do that.
Maybe another family, or
maybe it's one of the other like ministers. Because like assumedly there's some sort of like council going on.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
or something. I don't know. My bossing say political situation
So
canonically
there's
offhand.
there are a bunch of ministers that each oversee a bunch of different things. This is for everyone's benefit, really, including
So
the viewers.
maybe it's a slightly less prominent minister, like a minister of like agriculture or something, where like, you know, like they don't have like a huge pull, but they have like an official seat at the table.
Yeah, someone who has some connections, but not like as integral
it's
to
not
the
like
inner.
Minister of Defense or something like,
Right,
you know, like,
right. Because like certainly one thing you know is like the Grand Secretariat would probably want to know if there was someone who was abusing their power.
Exactly. Yeah.
But you know, as far as you haven't seen the Grand Secretariat at this party, this is like it's a big deal, but it's not like that big of a deal. And you know that he's super busy with running all kinds of different things, and making sure that, you know, the order is maintained within the city. So I think, yeah, I like the idea of like an agrarian, someone who oversees the part of the agrarian zone. Let's call them Minister Tang.
Okay, yeah.
Minister Tang. I'm going to write that down so I don't forget that. And let's see. What pronouns does Minister Tang use?
He, him, I think.
So, agrarian supervisor. Okay. So yeah, you've been introduced to a couple of people, and we have this little flashback, you know, Avatar style. That's like,
Go
for it.
I'm just because I want to engage with the mechanics a little bit.
Yeah.
Can I have previously? This is like flashback territory because we haven't done this yet.
Yeah.
Can I have previously spent one of my resource points on getting a proper introduction to Minister Tang and like having a conversation that went well with him?
Yeah.
You know?
I like that a lot, actually. So yeah, let's go down to your tainted past, which gives you a bunch of fun stuff, as we've established.
Does.
It tells us about your family, who they are, what they've done, what they're kind of branching into, what's kind of like a little dangerous, and also specifies your resources that you have at your beck and call. And when you gain resources mechanically, you can spend them on the things your family can provide, which are cold hard cash and high technology. So you can spend resources during the session to establish a boon that you previously asked for or obtained, something that your lineage's unique position and stores could provide. A vehicle, an invitation into a private event, a powerful chamber, a chest of jade coins, etc. So I think part of that cold hard cash is like, maybe you greased this guy's palms a little bit with some cold hard cash.
I was actually thinking about the other side of things, which is the high technology, because agriculture and like, you know, water distribution and so forth. If you're not a waterbender, you need some pipe system to like make things easier to grow and like better. And I think probably Delight had a long conversation about how she'd been thinking about a theoretical design that could like do that, you know, in a certain like, when she gets obsessed with like projects and technology. And that like she's sort of like previously put in motion the idea that this is gonna happen. You know?
Yeah, so like we flash back to that moment of like, is there anyone we can talk to? Surely there must be someone. And we fade to white, soft focus filter. Minister Tang has these like big spectacles, I think, that make him look a little bit like an owl. He's hunched over, even though he's not old. He's like middle-aged, but he kind of has like a kind of a demure bearing, and he's sort of like nervously like, Lady Delight, it's so nice to make your acquaintance, and blah, 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 and what can we provide, and I hope that we can reach a mutually beneficial understanding between the two of us. and you're talking, and he's like, the one of the major problems, if I may be so bold, that we're having in the agrarian zone is a lack of proper irrigation. The summer was so hot that we couldn't provide the water we needed for all of the crops, at least for the certain zones in sectors 3 through 6. And like that's when you jump in.
Yeah, I think she sort of jumps in with the like, well, there are plenty of ways to design a more efficient system, and I've been thinking about, like, and she goes into like a big, techno ramble. I'm not gonna go into it personally because I'm sure I'll trip over it, and I want her to sound smarter than me. But I think she comes away with like having made the easy promise that it'll get done using like Chen resources.
Right. You won't have to oversee it, but somebody in the house will deal with it.
Yeah.
You'll just put it on the docket and someone will take care of it. Right.
Yeah.
And like Tang is shaking your hand vigorously with both hands. Oh, thank you. Thank you. You don't know what you so you flash back to the modern
Feedback
times. Like,
into,
oh yeah,
reality.
This guy is 100% on your side.
Yeah. Delight sort of like points him out in the crowd, like subtly, and says, if there's anyone who's gonna listen right now, anyway, Minister Tang is pretty happy with us. He's Minister of Agriculture, and I mean, he has a seat at the table. He has the official channels to like call into question actions of other ministers and so on. So that might be a good place to start.
This is like, John narrows his eyes and is like, if you're Minister of Agriculture, do you go to the Outer Ring?
I'm sure he's been there. I mean, we talked about issues with irrigation a little while ago.
I feel like anyone who actually is in the Outer Ring all the time is already gonna know that there's a war on. Like, you if you're that close to the edge, you're gonna hear things. You're gonna see things. People are gonna walk by who've come from outside. I feel like no one in this ring goes that far out. Maybe that's why.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh,
you
no,
go.
you go.
Oh, I was gonna say, Jin, there's sometimes these people who are very obsessed with certain things. This person probably looks like that kind of type that just always focuses on the ground and maybe never really looks up. So it might just be a lack of picking their head up out of the ground, I guess.
I mean, that seems like what the entire city is about, so fair enough. Maybe we can at least talk some sense into him.
I think Delight is just like very slightly offended by that. Like, my family's part of the city, and I'm very skewed towards tradition at the moment. So like, he's saying that it's like, yeah, it's no good.
I think Kwan
but she doesn't
is
say
just biting her tongue
Mm.
in the scenario. It's like, Master, Delight is here, and she doesn't want to speak out of turn, type of thing.
So, I can make introductions, maybe. I think you, Jian, or Chi, or both of you have sort of a better handle on this whole situation than I do, in terms of what needs to be done or what should be done. So,
And what would you do, Master Delight?
I don't know yet. There was a lot of conversation about, the good of the city and doggo.
The dog is very concerned too.
The thing that is, best for everybody, and I need to.
Are you still planning on telling Master Justice about what is going on?
I think I have to talk to him at least. Maybe while you're talking to the minister, I'll take him aside and see if I can drag him away from this party for a little while, and now that I've had that conversation with Li Jiang, it's even more important.
And what if he doesn't want to assist?
Dealing in the theoretics is a little above my ability right now. I think I have to see what happens. And I'll deal with it then.
It is important to think about the steps and moves that your fellow companions and peers might make before you take yours. Assessing a situation is never bad.
If he doesn't want to help, then we'll figure out another way. Maybe I could talk to Father, but I don't think that's a good idea either.
I think it would be good for you to talk to him.
She like bites her bottom lip really hard, like I don't know about that. And then just says, "Okay, but Mr. Tang first. Let's start there." So she sort of like, we're in this corner, and she sort of like shepherds everybody, like out of the corner once again.
Right.
And walks over with her two best friends, and goes to introduce you to Minister Tang, who we've already made the acquaintance of.
Yeah. And Tang is more than happy to see you. Tang's the kind of person that goes to the party and, doesn't want to make a scene, doesn't want to like do a whole fuss. And so like, if people talk to him, he will respond, but he's not like, he's like, I don't want to go up and you're probably busy. You probably don't want to talk to me right now.
A bit of a party wallflower.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He's like, he would be happy if there were dogs or something here at the party. He would be like, "Oh yeah, how you doing? Like, we'll hang out with you." So he's sort of like awkwardly, just like turning over his glass in his hands, kind of in the middle of a group, and he waves you over like, "Oh, lady delight. Oh, please."
So in her best statesman-y voice, she replies, "Mr. Tang, so nice to see you again. I was hoping that I could introduce you to some of my friends, and we could talk about a delicate issue with you."
Oh, well, if you would like to discuss more delicate business, it is your party after all. Hey, I wouldn't want to deny. But yes, I'm always pleased to make the acquaintances of others who keep such fine company. I'm Minister Tang, Minister. I oversee the agrarian zone and various comings and goings outside the lower ring. It's like kind of trying to figure out, what do I do? How do I feel what
like
is your status?
Delight probably makes introductions of like her friends, Orchid and
right.
And you can break those disguises if you want to with this person, but the introductions are of course as presented.
Internally, Jean's like, "Wait, do we break character or not? I don't know," and then just defaults to staying in character. Like, "Oh yes, nice to meet you," and like holds out a hand and stuff.
There's a couple of animation frames of your brain like blue screening as you just like.
So I think it sort of goes like, so it's I'm gonna lead them with you, Minister, and they'll fill you in about what it is what kind of problems that we have that need to be. Her like statesman voice fails as she's like trying to figure out how to like delicately put this. It's just like, I have to pursue a different conversation about the same topic, but it's very important, and please just hear them out and listen to what they have to say. Thank you, Minister. And she bows her head further than she should in this social context.
Yes.
Right? Like a little bit more respectful than necessary.
Yes, of course. I believe we can have a moment to ourselves on the veranda here. And he sort of like gestures off some double doors into, there's like a little balcony that goes oversees some of the gardens. And it's not impolite if you step away. People would notice if Delight is like, well, hold on a second.
Exactly. Can't step away from my own party.
Right.
I also looked at Quan and like sort of wordlessly inquire as to like which party she's going with, if you know what I mean, like having that conversation or the one I'm gonna have with Justice. Like there's like a moment of eye contact.
Quan will follow you.
Okay. All right. So we're dividing into twos.
Yeah. Cool. So let's start with Minister Tang. So they pull you
She
off, and
believes
so
that
we.
Jin will take care of it, or at least at this point, it's been she who's been able to handle themselves.
Yeah. Look, are you gonna be okay? So we get out of the like bright lights and music and into the night. It's a starry night, so there's still like light in the upper ring. There's torches and lamps and things like that. I think and the compound is like decently lit, but it's more like mood lighting in the gardens. There's probably like firefly lamps or something that's kind of keeping everything glowing, and some they're crystals. They're right, because there's these green crystals inside the lamps that kind of give off this soft mood lighting inside the gardens. And so Minister Tang sort of like turns to you. What sort of business do we have to discuss?
What kind? Go ahead. You could go ahead.
Oh, we wanted to ask about, and this like Jan's like kind of like, I go over to she like, I don't know, should I like?
So Minister, I know that you deal with, of course, the outer rings. If I am correct, if I could be so bold as to ask, like how far in the outer rings do you view things? Like, have you noticed any unusual breakages?
Tang is sort of taken aback a little bit. So Tang's like, I oversee the agrarian zone, which, as you know, is outside the lower ring, but just before the outer walls. His eyes kind of are very open, and he speaks very slowly. I oversee the comings and goings of our various crops in the agrarian zone. Things sometimes fall apart, but we always make sure to fix them up.
Yes, I know that's very clever of you to always make sure that you fix up your crops and make sure that they're growing well. But sometimes there are things like pesticides that are infiltrating, from, bad crops, right? Yes, sometimes there's a bad crop that ruins the whole batch by choking off resources, letting those resources flow to the general public, kind of thing.
He gets nervous in a different way. So before, when you were talking about the wall breaking, he was like, okay, hold on. We're talking about this. Okay. And then when you mentioned like there are things that are dangerous to the whatever, he immediately like starts to enter a cold sweat a little bit, and he's like, the ministry, we are very mindful of the various things that we do to keep the citizenry safe. It's all And he's looking around like he's expecting someone to jump him.
No worries, right? Oh, Jin, my dear, can you tell them about your crops that you grow outside as well? I'm sure the minister would be very interested to hear how your crops are doing out there.
Are you a farmer?
My family are from Amashu. We were visiting for business and to attend this party with my friends. So we have a different situation over there, and when I came here, I was very surprised to see how different things were in Ba Sing Se to Amashu in terms of how our instead of awkward guys over
No one
crops.
understands. Yeah, crops. The heat wave that's affecting the crops.
Yes, the
outside.
heat wave. Yes, it's
the heat wave.
in Marshu. It's the talk of the town. Everyone knows about the problems with the crops, but here it seems like everyone knows outside, but inside it doesn't get as far. You must be doing a very good job.
Yes. Well, if only we could grow our cabbages as good as they do in Omashu. Yes. And he's like now like so confused. You've sort of sent him on a little roller coaster of like, what direction are we get? He like kind of leans in and he kind of shuffles you a little bit away from the door, like very gently without touching. He's like sort of like with his hands like come over here a little bit. And he like leans real close. Listen, I'm not one for these sort of backroom discussions. I'm very willing to assist you with whatever it is you need, but I must ask. Do you know what you're speaking about? And do you know the severity of it?
Oh, I think I'm about to faint. Can you please catch me? As I hold on to them and whisper really closely in their ear. There is corruption within your government and hypnotizing your citizens right under you. The citizens should know of the war that is about to come. Oh, thank you so much, Minister, for catching me. It's quite, thank you.
And he like, the panic shifts again. So this kind of panic is now like a little bit of relief, but now he knows what the stakes are, and he's sort of like, okay, now I have to readjust. You can see him doing some mental calculus. He like now he fully like pulls you back. Oh, so sorry. You here, please. The aroma of this aloe plant is very soothing for the vapors, and he kind of shoves you back by a bunch of potted plants, both of you, and so like we're going full cartoon moment where like you're hiding kind of behind these bushes, these potted bushes. He's like, okay, well, now I think I see the truth of the matter. Yes, we, how could I not know what happened at the outer walls? You are correct.
That's what
Perhaps
I thought.
more than you know.
But then so many people here act like nothing ever happened. I'm glad that there's at least someone in here who understands, even if they have to keep it secret.
That is, well, yes. More people than you might realize understand, and the silence. Well, that is by design. You see, we are trying to do our best to make sure that Ba Sing Se remains a utopia for people, one of the finest place in all the Earth Kingdom for people to come, and that means that sometimes those that would seek to undermine the way things are, well, they tend to disappear or change their minds, whether or not they want to.
Is that honestly, in your opinion, healthy to essentially leave the population high and dry, limiting their water source, as what some may say,
I know this. If the truth were to come out, there would be chaos in the streets. I wish that the truth would come out as much as you do, but it has been so long. It's years, ever since. Well, there has been a shift, I must say. Things have sort of changed, and well, if people have been told one truth for so many years, to hear the other truth would cause a great deal of unrest. And the two of you seem like very upstanding people, I must say, yes. But we should not speak of this. Certainly not here. It is very dangerous. We do not want to be visited by those who can stop us from speaking.
We just have to do something. Even if things are alright inside the walls, they're not alright outside. Soon this will be the only place in the Earth Kingdom.
Well, what can I do? I am but a humble minister of agriculture.
It's like, Jen kind of thinks for a moment, is like, do you know about Ruby Jasmine?
He nods slowly. I may.
That's what they're using to change people's minds. Can we stop it being... Can we stop them growing it? Can we ruin the crop or something?
He looks at the two of you very carefully. I understand that you are friends of Delight's. Delight seems like a lovely lady. What assurance do I have that if I help you, I will be safe?
Jen kind of is like doesn't have any words for it. It's like, oh no, I don't know. Well,
Jen's like, what do you need to? You need to help people. There's a war. People are dying.
Yeah, it's like-
Yeah, you can respond however you want, because I think there's an interesting
I just
outcome
think
out of
it's
it,
funny
however we
because
do
he's
it,
like,
yeah.
oh, you want me to
yeah,
trade you
for a moment
something?
he's just
What
like
is
kind of lost and is like, I don't know what to do, and then he's like, what? You're not safe. No one's safe. That's the point. The city's in danger. How long can you keep pretending it's fine until the pretending means that you lose?
Yeah. Here we go. I think you're calling him out.
Yeah.
This is not pleading. This is calling
was
someone
calling
out.
I was thinking he was pleading, but I think calling him
Yeah,
out is
calling
better.
out.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
you know, like you know what's going on here, and that's good. But you're still arguing to maintain it, even though you know.
Right.
You
no,
know,
I
and
like
you
that.
don't even like it.
All right.
like-
So here's how this move works: is so everyone has a principle. Every NPC, every PC has two principles. So NPCs can try and call on you to live up to either of your two principles, right? Someone could try and get Gian to live up to force or care, like to do something in line with those two beliefs. Like, you need to go attack this person, or you need to show some mercy to this person. Every NPC, once they start to matter, has a principle as well. And so usually, like, you need to know what that person's principle is, either through moves or through roleplay or whatever. So we've had a conversation with him. What do you think his principle is? What do you think he believes in, based on what we've talked about?
I feel like he knows what's going on, but he thinks that as long as he keeps his head down and stays out of trouble, he can just focus on the plants, which is the most important thing to him. And he doesn't have the courage to stand up, even though he feels like this is wrong. This shouldn't, like, it's obvious he doesn't want, this isn't the right approach.
Yeah.
Well, he's scared, right? Because
He's
Right.
scared.
People
terrified.
people have disappeared.
Yeah. So I put in self-reliance as kind of the concept. And I think that's what I'm hearing is that basically. So like if you're GMing this game and you've written out a principle for someone that's like they believe in law and you call on them to live up to their principle of justice, it's basically the same idea. You don't have to say the exact word if you get the kind of the broad strokes. If you totally misread a character and you're like, I want to call on them to live up to their principle of tradition, and this person is like a freewheeling like bounty hunter who does things by the skin of their teeth, like that person doesn't believe in tradition, that's not going to work. We're going to try something else. But here this is basically the same idea. This guy like wants to take care of himself and keep his head down and like come out of this in one piece. So that's on the money. What you do when you make this move is, because calling on someone to live up to their principle means that you in turn are making a stand about something. You're saying like, I believe in something. You have to shift your balance away from your center. So if you're already moving your balance track in one direction, you're going to keep going in that direction because you're already away from center. If it's at 0, it goes in either direction.
That means that I'm tipping another point towards force.
Which totally makes sense here, because you're like, you got to do something. You're not safe.
Yeah.
You have to take action right now, which I love. Then we name and roll with the principle, which is self-reliance. So his principle right now, I think, is going to be at +1. So NPCs have a balance track that changes kind of how far it can go depending on how powerful an NPC they are or how important they are. I think he already is a step in that direction because he's like on edge. So go ahead and roll and add +1 to call him out to do something.
Okay.
Ooh.
8.
Oh,
Okay. That's a
could
mixed success.
I take a fatigue?
You could, but it would only
but-
bring the result up to a 9,
So it's
which is still in the
mixed.
7 and 9 range band.
Yeah, it wouldn't.
Darn it.
It would still be mixed. Yeah.
make a
Yeah.
difference, unfortunately.
Ooh.
Not worth you.
Which is
getting
not bad.
paid for.
On a hit, they are called to act as you say. They must either do it or mark a condition. So he either has to like agree to help you right now, or mark a condition if he doesn't want to. On a 7 and 9, he also challenges your view of the world in turn. Mark a fatigue, or he can shift your balance as he chooses.
Ooh.
Okay.
So he tries to change your viewpoint on the world.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Would you mark the fatigue and just be like, I'm putting my heart and soul into this? Or do you want him to kind of like challenge your thinking, or at least respond somehow?
Yeah, let's have him challenge it. That'll be interesting.
Yeah. I think so based on what's going on here. Yeah. So he looks at you. He's like rattled because I think there's a little fervor that he wasn't expecting from you. Like, oh, you're just two party girls, whatever. like you're not safe. You have to do something now, or we're all going to be in danger. And he's rattled a little bit. He's like takes a step back, and he's like, "You're right. I'm nothing if I don't serve the people. That's why I was appointed to this position, to make sure that everyone is safe. If I only look after my own skin, I'm not doing a very good job of that. You're right. I know it's wrong. Well," and then he kind of like looks back and forth between the two of you, and he looks at you like, "But what do you know of these things? If you're from Omashu, you're a traveler from outside these walls. How can you possibly make any change within them? as an outsider, and as a lady of the court, you hold no standing. You have no power.
Right now, we
Words
don't.
are strong, but they have to have something to back them up. It's not enough to brandish a sword at someone and tell them to change.
No, that's very true. You are, of course, right. We don't have power, but I see it as we don't have power now. These conversations, each of these little tiny pebbles that are going down this mountain, eventually knock a bigger stone. And each time we mark more and more, creating an avalanche. One little voice, one rock thrown into a water, does it not make a splash?
He nods. He kind of like thinks, and he says to John, like, yes, you are correct. That is true. I see so much fire in you. That is admirable. I wish I had it. At the same time, I know that to make the biggest splash in that pond, sometimes you are not the boulder. Sometimes you must be the pebble. And I wish I could be that avalanche. But sometimes, to make sure you are safe, to make sure others are safe, you must be the smallest stone. And that can make the first ripple. And the wave will come in time. He wants to push your balance towards care, not force. It's like, yeah, you're right. We're going to do something, and we're going to do it like, we're not going to do it hard. We're going to do it sideways, like delicately. So he pushes you back towards care. But he is going to help you, and he is going to explain. And so, like, I think, well, the least I can do is at least tell you what you are dealing with. The ruby jasmine, you are correct. I know of it. It is a flower that comes from distant lands. It is grown here by the Chen family. They brought it. They brought seeds and have a greenhouse that grows it. It produces very calming effects. I am told that if you were to spend too much time around it, you might find yourself daydreaming quite a bit, if not sleeping. I heard tales of the workers who went to harvest the samples. They found fields of the stuff, massive, like a sheet of red silk covering the floor of the jungle they found it in. And when they went to harvest the flowers, they fell asleep. When they were woken up, it was as though they couldn't remember where they were. To be very careful around that stuff in great quantities.
Can we stop it being grown?
No, not unless you are Song Chen and order all of it to be removed.
Could we at least...
Just like any plant, it can be uprooted.
Can we at least slow it down, get rid of some of them, make a weaker crop? Maybe we just make it look like it was a bad year, or maybe we, there's irrigation. There's a blockage in the irrigation that we didn't know about, and it's not your fault because it's a freak accident or something.
You're talking about sabotage.
Sure.
It is possible. You would need to adjust a few things, make sure that whoever is maintaining the crop doesn't notice that it's not receiving proper care. And he thinks for a moment, perhaps there is a way. And I think we're going to cut away from him for a second there as he's like thinking, like, what is the solution here? So you, Delight, and Quan are going to talk to Justice, right?
Yeah, I think that's the plan.
Okay. Where would we find Justice, do you think?
I mean, he's gonna be at this party somewhere.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, he told me to show up, so he
Right.
has to be here someplace.
He left you to deal with some
You-
stuff.
Yeah, you two were walking in together.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
I think you find him with Song. So because
Okay.
he is the eldest. He is like effectively the heir to the empire.
True.
And so you're like drifting around and you see Justice before you realize that he's with your father, who is at like I think at a round table at one of the corner in kind of the back of the room, or the head of the room, I should say. And Song is like arms splayed, like talking with a bunch of various people. Justice is seated next to him, sort of very prim and proper, like nodding along and like keeping an eye on things, but sort of staying a little bit reserved. Like it's not his show and he knows it. This is Song's shindig. And I think as you come around the corner, like the two of them notice you, and your father calls you over. There's my beautiful flower, Delight. Please.
And she sort of like is a little tries to get a hold of like the moment, she wasn't expecting to speak to her father like right away. And I think there's like, okay, well, I said I was gonna come and do this party and like conform to like what was needed of me here, so I'll do the thing that my father wants me to do, which is just like follow along with whatever he's doing right now. And so like she smiles and like steps up to the table that he's seated at and like addresses him politely. And says, Father, the party's been going great.
Yes, of course it has. Although would have liked to have seen you a bit more prominently, but I understand that you've got your head in a couple of different things all at once. And so
I've been trying to make the rounds, make introductions, and just generally let everybody know that I'm here and I can help.
Justice like nods and kind of leans and says like, yes, Father, I was making introduction. I was speaking to Delight. Justice. No. My girl, there's going to come a time when you have to preside over a great many things. You can't let every little capricious thought that wanders into your mind take center stage. You've got to be able to juggle it all.
Of course, Father. Yes. But not tonight, surely.
He like kind of leans back in the chair a little bit, seeing you're kind of like pushing back a little bit. It's like, on tonight of all nights is when it's most important. This is for you. And he gestures at everything, like the food, the musicians, the dancers, the party overall. Like, this is what I've done for you, Delight.
She pauses at that point, like thinking of a reply, and she then says, did you want me to make a speech or something? Maybe?
And he nods, like I think he stands at this point, and he puts his hands on your shoulders, and he says, like, very sternly and firmly to you, like, these are your people, Delight. One day they'll answer to you, not me. Our line have done much for the city. We are in its blood. We are at its foundations. The least you can do is to tell them who you are, why you will carry on the lineage of the Chens. He is calling on you to live up to tradition. Do you want to deny his call out, or do as he says?
Does it shift my balance if I don't
I think it will either way.
don't comply?
If you it works a little bit similarly to taking a powerful blow in Masks, which is like if you make it, as it were, on this move, you can hold strong and not be pushed around, but
I have to roll either way. Yeah.
Otherwise, well, I mean, you can do as he says, basically, and like make a toast or do like kind of carry on with the traditional values that he's kind of pushing on you. But if you want to deny, you still roll.
What I mean is, like, if I deny and fail, I assume it will balance, like it will shift my balance.
On a hit, act as he says or mark 1 fatigue.
Oh yeah, I should.
On a 10 plus, his words hit hard, and you must also shift your balance towards the called on principle.
Okay.
On a miss, you stand strong. So the thing is, like, the more your principle goes in a certain direction, the harder it is to deny being called to live up to that principle, because it's something that you believe in.
So the only thing is, like, I have a +3 in tradition right now, so I will be like, if it shifts further off the sheet, I will.
You will
have
lose your balance.
A moment of balance. The lost balance.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to
Which is
figure out.
Do it.
All right.
I believe.
We'll do it. Let's do it.
Okay.
Well, do what you want to do, but
no,
it makes sense that you would go the traditional route.
I think she would, because she's fully like towards that right now anyway.
Yeah, she's trying to
resist. It would be more difficult, right? I stated that she was going to do what her father wanted her to do. So yeah, him kind of encouraging her. She looks up at him, like, while his hands are on her shoulders, and there's a smile, like the kind of smile that is like, I understand where you're coming from, and like, you're my father, and that I we might disagree, but that, like, in this moment I get it, there's like a little bit of that.
I think to kind of cap that off, as he sees the moment of recognition, like, I think he knows that it's hard for you, and so he's like, just do that. If you do this for me, you would make me the happiest man in the world right now.
I mean, you can't say no to that when your dad tells you that. You can't say no. No.
He's
And
pulling at
emotional
heartstrings.
manipulation. Who?
He's like,
Yeah,
I just want my father to love me.
Yeah.
And poor Justice over there is like,
Justice is just like wincing. Like
yeah.
bite tongue. If he bit his tongue any further, it would come off. You know.
Okay, so I guess Delight sort of I'm not sure how I would get attention. I guess glass clinking is the usual fancy party move. So she just picks up one of the like nearby glasses and just uses it to start the
Rock
Just be like-
stomping. You like
Yeah.
pick up rocks and stomp them on the ground.
Yeah. And once everybody sort of like quiets down and she has everybody's attention, I assumed that this would translate to the other scene as well. You'd like hear everything going quieter in the other like area of the party. She sort of like steps up to a sort of central position in front of the like head table, and says, "I want to thank everybody for coming tonight and for being here and supporting our family in their march towards more prosperous and successful bossing say than ever. Know that if you need to speak to a member of the Chen family, I am now available to hear your requests and speak on family business. My father, who organized all of this, thank you very much to him. And to everyone, please enjoy the rest of your night.
Thunderous applause. Here, yes. No, Delight Chen.
Yeah.
Yes. No. And he's like let you take the stage, and as you like your father stepped back, and when you finish, he puts a hand on your shoulder, and just says, "Those are fine words, Delight. I see myself in you in ways that surprise me. Thank you."
That callback to the Quan scene there, like seeing Delight in song is similar. Yeah. She says like, I'm happy to do it. I was wondering if I could borrow Justice for a few moments. We have some things to talk about regarding the agrarian zone.
Oh. Well, I suppose you've earned a moment of respite, he says, like jokingly. Like it's not the right joke to make in this context, but he's doing it anyway because he doesn't know. I don't think he realizes that it comes across badly. And he leans down and he like snaps his fingers at Justice, who's kind of like in this centering mode. He like snaps up and stands and thank you, Father, and like bows very shortly, and song goes back to the table. Where were we, gentlemen? Yes, well.
Background noise. Yeah.
Right. So the group on the verandas heard this moment of speech, and I think what Minister Tang was telling you is like there are ways to sabotage the growth of this plant that are very subtle. I think he knows ways to like poison the fertilizer, like slip in a little something that would not be easily detectable. You know, like it seems like, oh, everything's fine, but if you mess the ratios of these things up, it actually is toxic. Like it's one of those things, like if you water a plant too much, then it's bad, and if it gets too much sunlight, it's bad. So it's sort of like a plausible deniability that he can tell you how to do it. He just can't do it himself, obviously, because he's a minister and he has to be away and people would notice if he went down there. So he can explain how to do it, but he can't like give you anything. It's like not something that he can make. It's sort of more of a technique. Someone with a little more expertise or hands-on experience in that kind of stuff, maybe. Like someone who's trained in technology might be able to figure that out. Or any of the rest of you could try and do it probably
Poorly.
on your own. You're right. I mean, you would push your luck to do it probably, but we'll burn that bridge when we get to it. But I think he's explained sort of this general technique. And so he's kind of like, okay, well, I know you're busy. Like, we really can't talk about this anymore because people will find out.
Yeah.
And is kind of leading you back into the main room as Delight makes the speech, which is like the timing there. So the two of you, Gian and Chi, see Delight and Quan leave the room with Justice kind of out the other end. What did the two of you do?
Actually, before Tang leaves,
Yes.
she's just gonna give him just a little like quote, just just a whisper. When you speak confidently like this in your passion and you're a little bit braver, I see a strong young man in you. Very attractive, strong young man. And I think you're going to do great things. Don't hide yourself too much. You're much taller. You know, just have more confidence in yourself. And I do a little wink. And then
He goes beet red, just completely flushed, like ladies. He bows way too deep, like almost bends himself in half, and sort of stands back up, and then like takes a few steps backwards to like wave goodbye, bumps into somebody, turns around 3 times, and sort of drifts into the crowd.
I hate playing these games, but we got somewhere. That was great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was really good. And you know what? Those words you said right back there, Jin. What I meant is,
yeah.
You should have more confidence in yourself too, speaking up about these things. Because you know what's going on. You've seen.
I mean, if I could, I'd just go up and, yell at everyone about it, but I think that would probably get me in the kind of trouble that I couldn't be of any use anymore. So I
but
guess
you
I've
didn't
got to
yell.
learn how to play.
Well, not so much how to play. You know how. It's in that tap noggin of yours, like how you talked right there. That wasn't force, but it was very convincing. Hey, and you're kind of cute when you do those things.
Yeah, at least now we have a plan. I can work with a plan.
Should we go see and listen in on their? Shall we go to the other powder room with the light?
Yes. Let's retire at something. Whatever. Let's go listen at the door.
Whatever. Let's go.
I can't deal with it. Right? You slip off.
I'm gonna play these games when we're in front of someone. I'm not doing it when we're just like talking to each other. It's like. My brain's only got so much capacity for like innuendo and analogies.
Right.
Poor Gian.
I think
like exhausted.
I think so you obviously you can't leave the party, but you're gonna kind of go to another one of these private locations within the ballroom. I think there's like there's double stairs that go up onto a second level in this room, 100%. And like there's an upper balcony that looks kind of over it. But there's one of those kind of open spaces at the back, so it's like wider, and so Justice and you, Delight, are able to kind of find a little more reserved place where you can look down on the party, but you're still here. Obviously, people can kind of see you, but you're not You haven't left, quote unquote.
And Quan, also always Quan.
And Quan, yes, Quan is
Just
here,
creepily
yes.
in the background.
Lurking.
Yeah, what's
lurking.
Quan up to this whole time? Because you're just watching, right?
Yeah, I think during obviously the interaction between Delight and Song, Quan was just kind of watching, and probably similarly to Justice, having facial expressions but trying to hide them.
Restrained.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Restraining herself.
It's okay. In private, I'm sure she'll have opinions.
And she's just kind of watching as the two Chen family members kind of walk up the stairs and to the balcony area. She's just kind of keeping an eye around on, anything suspicious or odd or out of place or anything that might be harmful to the family.
Yeah. I think at this point, why don't you assess the situation?
Sure.
Because there's
someone's creeping.
There's some you've gotten the sense that things are like a little tense in general. Go ahead and roll with your creativity.
This is creativity. Oof.
Mid conversation, a Fire Nation assassin bursts out of the wall.
All right. I'm not good at creativity, so we'll see how this goes. 9. Ooh, I care a lot.
Oh,
apparently.
hello.
Okay. You get one
Even though
question.
I have a -1 to this roll. So on a 7 and 9, I can ask one question. Let's see. What should I be on the lookout for?
You've taken in this whole party. You've seen it from every angle at this point. You've done the Jason Bourne, like, here are my exits. Here's who's armed. Here's who I could kill in 3 seconds if I needed to,
That's
all that
literally
stuff.
all she's been doing this whole party. Is
Yeah,
like,
I
she
think we have
hasn't
a
said
little
word to
montage of
anybody.
like we zoom in on Quan's face and like see your eyes narrow and like there's these group of people over here have been like looking over in your direction all night long. They're ultimately harmless. They're just sort of like gossips. And these people over here, they seem to be like they're having an argument, but they're really just arguing about like a sports event. Like, oh no,
Is it, or are
this
there
team,
underlying tones of sports event?
right? Could be. But between all of this stuff, you notice that there is someone at the far end of this balcony who you've seen a couple times throughout the night in different intervals, who's been watching you. You're like, oh, that person looks familiar, a couple times, and you're suspicious in general. But now this person is like clearly watching you, or like not watching you, watching Delight and watching Justice. Like the two of them, like doesn't seem to be acknowledging you, but the two, because you're like a few steps away from them, but it's clearly watching Justice and Delight have a conversation. This person, I think, is about like 5'6", kind of innocuous clothing, like for a party with nobles. I think that like they're blending in but also standing out, like they're wearing very simple, expensive clothing.
I think Quan is going to keep an eye on the two children, but sneakily make her way to finding herself near this person if she can.
Like closer, like a better vantage
like
point.
A surprise attack vibe. But not
Yeah.
attacking. Just wants to get a closer look at this person, as well as maybe talk to them if possible.
Yeah. I think because at this point you're trying to like gain some insight into what's going on with them. That sounds like you're relying on your skills and training to kind of stay out of view. So go ahead and roll with your focus.
Which my background is military and urban.
Yeah. So because you're a bodyguard, this is what you do.
And I think because I am here, I am protecting Delight, I would like to spend one of my hold
Oh,
and take a
nice.
10 plus on any move to defend or protect them. Possible.
So there's no immediate threat here
Okay.
yet, but you can hang on to it if this goes
Okay.
sideways.
All right. So this is. What do I roll then?
Plus focus.
Plus focus. Okay. Sounds good. 11.
Okay. You are going to do it. So we're overcoming obstacles, gaining new insights, or performing familiar customs. Familiar customs in this case is like getting close to someone and figuring them out without them noticing. This person has malicious intent, 100%. This
Oh,
person is
man.
armed, like has some like
Like
has something
underneath. Yeah.
in their
okay.
tunic, right? And has been like slowly drifting from the kind of corner of the balcony area towards Delight and Justice. And so what you're able to do, I think, is like get up subtly, like closer. You could probably intercept them. Like that. This person hasn't noticed you
I would
because
like
you're good at
to
this.
grab them if possible.
You just grab them right off the bat.
Yeah, I'm gonna grapple them and be like, "Who sent you?" kind of vibe.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, depending on if I can grapple them.
Yeah, I think you go to grab them, and there's like a jolt of shock. And what I want to do is cut over to Delight and Justice to sort of see what we're about to interrupt.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the conversation. Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
So what are you talking about?
So as soon as I get Justice alone near the balcony, I say, "Our family's not deeply entrenched in making that ruby jasmine tea, are they?"
The tea. I mean, I know that I've heard we have a greenhouse that grows the.
She's just
the
like
jasmine.
while she's in private with Justice, she just drops all pretense of like double talk and just like tells him directly what's going on.
Here's what's happening, right?
And
he's
just says,
just like,
I had a conversation with Minister Li Zhang, the Minister of Morale. He knows that I broke a device he was using to mind control people using that tea. And now there's probably problems that are gonna come out of that, and I'm really, really hoping that you're not involved in this somehow.
You broke the device? What the? And Minister Li Zhang would never. But that doesn't make any sense. And we do grow the stuff, but I don't know how Li Zhang is getting his hands on it.
He's using it to try and keep everything under control. You know, keep the war a secret.
Right, the stuff they said it was pacifying or something like that, had a calming effect. Must be using that device that you mentioned to, because the two of you are scientists. He's probably using the device to amplify the effects, or at least concentrate it into something. And then once it's brewed, it must have a soporific effect on the individual. And he can use that to create suggestion. But why would he want to? And it's at that, as he's like kind of talking through the like, oh my god, what's going on? Like, he seems to be on your side. The other person that Quan intercepts like pushes back against you. It's like, back off, old lady. I don't want to hurt you. I'm not here for you.
Oh, I'm not backing off, and I'd like to see you try.
This person like looks at you and gets the fire in him. And it's like,
Oh shit!
You said you'd like to see me try.
He's about to get some fire in him. That's what he's
Right.
about to do.
He tries to shove past you.
Okay, I'm not gonna allow that.
Okay. I think rely on your skills and training is what happens. As you're like arm lock, you're not getting through here because you're a bodyguard.
Would I not be able to use my because she's not in immediate danger right now, right? this is more.
I think it's
dangerous for me.
implied danger because when he says I'm not here for you, he's like, he's talking about Delight or Justice, the two of them at the very least. Yeah.
Then I would.
So I
like
think if you
use
want to take the 10
my
plus
10
here,
to
then yeah.
hold on to him and not let him go. And then I think Quan will say, as she's holding him in place, and I think her hand kind of gets a little warm, and he feels like fire around his wrist as she's holding it, like his hands behind his back. And she says, "Who sent you?"
So you've got him in this arm lock. I think you've like flipped him around, right? Did you pin him to the ground? What did you do?
Probably like up against the wall.
Yeah, okay, you shove him up against the wall. So you've got his arm pulled back, and he's like pressed half face against the wall, and he's wrestling, and you're like, "Who sent you?" Very calmly, he spits and he turns and he yells, "Murderer! You animal, get off me! You won't stop me from making sure this animal doesn't hurt anyone else again with your weapons of war."
Ooh, interesting. I put my hands over his mouth, and I'm like, "What are you talking about? Speak quietly and calmly. You may be in good company."
As he's like wrangling with you. He's not in a negotiating mood.
Can I use suspicious mind here?
Yeah, 100%. Because you've been watching this person this whole time. So
right,
that move.
Focus.
You focus.
9. And a 7 to 9, hold 1.
Okay. So you can use that to ask me questions during this conversation. So you're like,
what is this person really worried about?
What are you worried about? Right now, they are worried that their target is going to get away.
Interesting.
And he's like, "You can't get off me. I don't have a lot of time." And the yelling is not subtle, because the two of you, Chi and Jian, as you're coming up the stairs, you hear something like "murderer," weapon, like your war machines, like whatever. And Justice looks up when he hears that, and he sees the person. He sees Quan has like pulled this guy kind of off to the side, like by some curtains or whatever, and like taps you on the shoulder as he starts to bet, like, "We need to go. We need to go."
But what about... She like looks over and sees Quan is like, holding or fighting with someone, basically like struggling against them, and wants to help, but she's currently unarmed, and like unequipped with her usual array of gadgets, and so sort of like nods to Justice and says like, all right, she can handle herself.
Yeah. Quan, as you see the two of them start to move, and the person you're holding is like angry, like, "Ugh!" Like, he's getting away, and then he looks back at you like, "You think you can hold me? You think I'm the only one here?"
Oh shit!
Ooh, is he telling the truth that he's the only one here?
You spent your holds, right? You had one hold.
Yeah.
I think you would realize.
The truth?
I'm gonna turn your move back on you and say, yes, he is telling the truth. You know that because Justice is like, "We need to go. We need to leave." And from some side windows, you see a couple people like like slip up and jump, like kip up into the upper balcony with like their faces wrapped up in dark, inconspicuous clothing, and drop into fighting positions They are flanking Justice and Delight.
Help me, team.
And that's where we're going to go to break.
Oh, shit.
That's
Okay.
Ah, damn it.
Dang it! I was ready. I was ready for it.
Will we survive? Let us find out when we return.
Oh.
All right, we'll be gone for a break for about 8 minutes, and then we'll be back with part 2. So go grab a snack, and we'll see you shortly.
I'm excited.
Hello and welcome back to Roll for It Avatar Legends RPG Episode 3, Part 2. We left on a cliffhanger. I was ready for the fight, and then it's like, oh, damn it, we gotta break first.
Ninjas!
Yeah, it's an
It, like,
ambush.
reminds me of, like, yeah. Like, drop in.
I was joking about the assassination attempt.
Well, this is what happens when you joke.
Well,
This is-
joke's on you, Bentham.
Sometimes
You
people
did
say
this to
things and you're like,
us.
yeah, that's what should happen, of course.
It's a manifestation. You just you put it into the world.
I
Right.
pulled a bard's tongue from Mage.
You manifested it.
Yeah, so we come back to Delight and Justice. It's like trying to slip out the back of the ballroom when they are accosted by a group of assassins, presumably wearing dark clothing, and obviously faces are covered, so nobody knows who they are. And Quan is busy trying to keep this other person who was trying to approach, keeping them busy. as Chi and Jian come up the stairs onto this like second floor balcony where Delight and Justice are, hearing an argument and then seeing ambushers out of nowhere. So I think we drop into an exchange is what happens here.
Yeah.
So here's what's going to happen is, since this is the first exchange that you're doing with SL, is to recap for everyone else, because I think we didn't do one last session. We're each going to, as players, you're going to decide which of three approaches you're going to take in this initial like burst of action, right? If you think of Avatar's moments of like, there's that tight 5 seconds of cool fight animation, and then people argue and talk, and then there's more cool fight animation. An exchange is one of those little bursts of action where all we do is resolve strikes or trying to block or evade or things like that. So you can choose to either, in this moment, your approach can either be to defend and maneuver, advance and attack, or evade and observe. There are 3 techniques that are basic that everyone can do within each of those categories. So if you choose to defend and maneuver, you might choose to retaliate and attack anyone who hits you, or seize a position and get to better ground. You might try to strike someone if you're advancing and attacking, obviously. And every playbook also has a special technique that is unique to them that you can use in those approaches as well. So Chi, as the bold, has the tag team move whenever Chi advances and attacks. Quan has the divert technique when you defend and maneuver. Jian has overwhelm on advance and attack. And Delight has break under evade and observe. So those are fun things you can do. So what you're going to do is... Go ahead.
No, that's good. I like it.
Yeah. So what you're going to do is choose which of those approaches you're going to go with, and I'm going to choose each approach for the NPCs in secret. And then when we've all decided what we're doing, I'll reveal what they've chosen.
Oh, I know what I'm doing. I'm striking. I already have a move in mind that I want to do.
Okay, perfect.
Like to do it.
So you're gonna advance and attack.
Strike. Yeah, I'm gonna advance and attack. Strike.
I think I am going to defend in response, like retreat, because we were already like, we gotta go, and now I'm surrounded, so we gotta go. This is the hope.
Cool.
I will. Okay, so I have an idea that I need to bounce off of you. To
What's up?
see, I think it's a seize a position. In a way to like distract all the like, just kind of like, haha, hip hip, flip my way to like the like between Delight and the ninjas, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
To be like, I am actually your opponent, and do a distraction thing. So it's like, is that a seize a position?
Yeah, you can use seize a position to engage or disengage foes, for example, or take a better position. So if you wanted to put yourself in between them,
Yeah.
then that you could definitely do that with that technique.
Okay.
So it sounds like you will defend and maneuver then.
Oh, that's not a...
Yeah, so if you're looking at the sheets on Roll20, they're actually using the older versions of the combat technique
okay.
stuff.
You gotta use the rule book.
So
I have it
the
pinned
PDF.
in our group chat.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seize the position is under defend and maneuver now.
Okay.
Because we were playing the quick start rules, which means things change. We're currently on like version 2. Things might change a little bit between now and the full game, but digital stuff is going out in January and physical stuff is going out in February. So I think we'll see very few like big updates. I know what the final rules look like because I've looked at the chapters or written parts of them. So some things will obviously change between now and then. The final game, if you're watching this and you're like, how do I play this game? In 6 months, the rules will probably be a little different, but the core is going to be the same.
Okay. All right. Yes,
cool.
I will go ahead and...
So you'll be defending and maneuvering.
Yes, defending and maneuvering.
Awesome.
I'm gonna advance and attack.
Yep. Sounds like a hammer to me.
Like, should I do that? No, I'm just gonna advance an attack.
Yeah. Okay, so I think that's everyone, right? So what we do is we resolve these as it's a little mouse guardy. Like we're kind of gonna rock paper scissors a little bit.
Yeah.
Mouse guard's my favorite. I love mouse guard.
So everyone who chose to defend and maneuver goes first, and then everyone who advanced and attacked goes next, and then everyone who evaded and observed. So for the NPCs, the person that Quan is wrestling with is choosing to defend and maneuver, and the assassins are choosing to advance and attack. So we're going to resolve those kind of in order. So for everyone who's defending and maneuvering, for PCs, you get to go first, and you're going to roll and add your focus to find out how well your approach goes.
Okay. Well, I have retreat on the docket, so I guess trying to like get out of harm's way. Although it says, I don't know if this is outdated or not because I'm looking for it in the rulebook, but it says that foes can just mark fatigue to stop me from doing that.
Yes, seize a position under defend and maneuver. Yeah, that they a foe that's engaged with you can mark fatigue to block this technique.
Okay, gotcha. All right, we're gonna try and retreat.
Okay.
And with focuses, is there like a determining what stat you use based on what you do, or like I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
you roll with your focus for defend and maneuver.
Okay. A 9.
Okay, great. So it's a mixed success. So you get one basic technique or mastered technique if you had something for defend and maneuver, but your break is under evade and observe, so you don't get to do it. So you're gonna seize a position, right? You're gonna basically back out.
Yeah, like try and create distance between me and attackers.
Okay. So yeah,
the reason that Delight is doing this is, again, I've already narratively positioned her as being unarmed, so like her tech combat style is useless right now. So creating space.
Cool.
With
So
justice, I hope.
Yes, the ambushers I think have like come through the windows on either side of this room, because of course they have, and so they're on either side of you. So they haven't fully like engaged you yet. So what you can do is like get to some kind of better cover, or leave the room or whatever it is. What do you want to do?
Are they blocking like exits? Like, is there any way for me to get past them, or because I imagine we're on like a balcony, right? Above,
yeah.
So if they're on either side of me, then it's like there are two ways to go, and those ways both have ninjas on them. You know what I mean?
Right. There's the ways kind of. I'm imagining the room is a big rectangle, right? You're at the bottom of the rectangle.
Gotcha.
And they're on either side. But this is one of those balconies or like walkways that is, you can walk around the edge and look down on the lower floor.
Okay. Yeah,
so they're blocking those two walkways that kind of go to the other side of the room.
But I could like move back it further into the. Like,
you could go like
rectangle.
down the stairs. You could probably.
I'm headed for the stairs. I want to get back to the main party, because in the main party there's a bunch of people who are going to do stuff about this, like guards and so on.
Right. Yeah. You want to get out of harm's way. Okay.
Yeah.
So what does it look like as you scramble past these people and get onto the lower level?
I grab Justice's hand and I like pull. Assuming that he's gonna come with me, unless he has chosen a different move, in which case, like, I succeed or fail. And I make a break for it as deftly as I can in my current attire, towards the stairs. There's probably a ripping fabric noise as she like steps on the corner of her dress or something and like rips it. I guess like moving past them, it's more trying to position other people in front of me. So like I know that she is gonna be like in the way, for example, is the idea, right?
Yes.
So it's that kind of like simultaneous action, you know. Distraction, run. I know I'm the target, or one of us is the target, me or my brothers. So we gotta go.
Cool. So you grab and you start to run down. So mechanically, this is all like happening in order, but fictionally, it's all happening at the same time, more or less, in that little montage. I forgot to mention that Justice is also defending and maneuvering and is going to seize a position with you to go down, so he will follow. For the person that Quan is grappling with, he's going to choose to ready himself. And readying means he can mark a fatigue to ready himself or his environment and apply a status as necessary. So status effects are new to version 2.0, and they are things that apply to a situation that change how certain mechanics work or kind of prevent you from doing things. They're sort of like putting more firm rules on top of the scenario. And so he gets to apply a fictionally appropriate status to nearby foes. And so what he's going to do is, as Quan's got the arm, like he's not getting out of this because you're so locked in there, right? And he knows that, which is why he manages to get into his tunic and throw some dust out of a pouch in your eyes, Quan. So he applies impaired on you. Impaired means that you're slowed or off balance.
So to mark a fatigue?
You have to mark a fatigue or take -2 to all of your physical actions.
Well, let's take the fatigue.
Yeah. So you take the fatigue as you're like, as the dust gets in your eyes.
Dust.
Right, and he's like
face.
wrestling with you there. That's everyone who defended and maneuvered.
Wait,
you
I
were going to do
roll?
something. Right, because you were going to advance. Right.
Yeah.
So
I
go
was
ahead and
gonna
roll plus your
advance.
focus.
Yes. So just do. Wait. What was it again?
Plus
So it's
focus.
Plus focus.
Yep.
All right. And wait, hold on. Sorry, I don't have my glasses on.
That's okay.
Yes. Wait, did I do that one right?
Success.
Yeah.
Yeah, success.
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
mixed
So you get
success.
to do one thing, which is seize a position, which is to interpose yourself. So you come up the. What's that look like? You're passing Delight and Justice
On the
on the way down the
stairs.
stairs.
On the stairs. How that looks like, just like, I'm actually going to, as I go up, just kind of boldly, just like take off the disguise I have and throw it on the ninjas to get them out of the way and be like, I'm here, and then just got like almost like ninja run up the stairs
Yeah.
in between.
Are you
And then-
Naruto running or?
Yes, I'm Naruto running up
Okay.
the stairs.
Just like Mai, right? It makes you go faster.
Yeah, it makes you go faster, totally.
So you throw the scarf to like disorient them, and you run up the stairs. And now they're gonna have to go through you if they want to get to Justice and Delight, which is great.
Yes.
Cool. So you have that position. Then everyone who's advancing and attacking goes. So go ahead and roll with your passion.
Ooh. Passion, great, yay! Hey,
Oh, look at that.
there you go.
Okay.
Woo.
So in either order, however you want to do this, Quan, you get to do 2 basic techniques.
Yeah.
And
Nice.
Gian, you get to do 1. Either a basic or your special technique.
John,
if
you can do
want.
it first because the two of you were kind of running up the stairs together. So I think cinematically.
I might not go for the crazy move this time because it does give me 3. It does give me 3 fatigue.
It does.
I think I want to go with smash.
Okay.
Mark 1 fatigue to destroy or destabilize something in the environment, inflicting or overcoming a fictionally appropriate positive and negative status. I'm thinking, can I like earthbend a wall in the way of the ninjas? Can I like block them from going straight for Delight and Justice?
Ooh, interesting. Yeah, I think it's gonna. Well, where's the Earth that you're getting?
I'm hoping the walls of this building work that way. Maybe they don't.
The walls. The Chens. We've established the Chens are not Earth. They are Earthbenders.
They
Yes.
are, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, the door worked with earthbending earlier. Remember
Yeah,
we-
they do
we
the slide
iterated.
stuff.
Oh,
So
true.
yeah, I
Like,
think
oh,
I think
yeah,
there's
I could-
probably
Maybe slam a door then. Maybe.
doors or the stair. The stairs are probably made of stone.
Oh yeah, no.
Like-
Let's just make them.
Oh, they're marble.
untraversable.
Yeah. You could collapse the stairs or like bend the stair, like part of the stairs up, to make a wall or something.
Yeah, I'm thinking because like, normally when you've got stairs and you're earthbending them, you make a ramp because that's fun. But that would allow them to slide down, and they'd still be able to do that. They're ninjas, so I got to do something else with it. I got to like.
What if there were pillars that were nearby that you could like take chunks out of to like try and stretch, like make some sideways barriers to impede them?
Yeah,
or
yeah,
something like
well,
that?
yeah, well, yeah. I'll so. Yeah,
Or you could just collapse them.
Yeah, no, a bit of both. I like run up and then I like pull the like two pillars on either side of the stairs, like so that they like fall over and like crisscross over the stairs.
I can see the tech, like you kip up and you like reach your hands out and pull them together like ropes, and
Yeah,
the
as,
two
as
columns
I'm running, I like
just
kick off my shoes. It's important. You gotta be grounded. You gotta have your feet on the floor.
Gotta feel it, right? I love that. So mark a fatigue, and you've destabilized something in the environment, which are these pillars, which is I think is going to make them impaired for sure,
Nice.
because they're just like they have to get out of the way.
Yeah.
It's hard to maneuver around. That's great. So I'm going to mark that on their sheet. I've got my handy dandy little character tracker here, so don't forget. And then Quan, tell me what you do.
I'll describe what I would like to do, and then you tell me what I need to do
Sure.
to make that happen. So with the 10 plus, I get 2 things that I can do, right?
You got two basic techniques. Yep.
She'd like to like take the guy who she's like holding up against the wall and like just smash his head on the wall. And then with the others, she kind of like pulls out this yin yang tomahawk, and she's just gonna like fire is just gonna flick around it, and she wants to spin them around and chuck them at like the closest other enemy that's near her.
Okay, so you're doing a 2-front assault that like you
Yeah.
bash this person and then attack the ambushers.
Yeah.
With fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Fire.
with fire, because you're a firebender. Really exciting in Ba Sing Se. That's there's 2 things here. Is that you can't pick the same technique twice in the same exchange.
Okay.
So you could strike and pressure if you wanted.
Okay.
So one of them, you could intimidate them. You could harm this person into
So-
like not
And
doing something.
Statuses are different than the strikes and pressure and smash.
Yeah, inflicting conditions is usually part of a technique.
Okay.
So what you can do is your 3 options for advance and attack are strike, which inflicts fatigue conditions or shifts their balance. Pressure lets you intimidate someone so they can't choose an approach in the next exchange, so you could keep them from attacking, for example. And smash is what Gian just did, which is to destabilize the environment, which might also
Okay, yeah, I think I'm
apply
striking
status.
the guy who I'm like pushing up against the wall and
Yeah,
knocking
that sounds
his head
right.
out. And then the other people I'm like pressuring them with the fire, like
Yeah.
the yin yang tomahawk is kind of like spinning around and like they're like, what the heck is that? Kind of like keeping them at bay.
Yeah, that flame also that's shooting out of it, I think is gonna scare them for sure into like not wanting to get any closer to you. So what technique can they not use in the next exchange?
Ooh. As far as so that'd be like attack and advance and attack. Or
Yeah, they
is it
can't
specific-
either defend, attack, or evade.
Okay, I would say attack. They can't attack.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's they're like ugh, reeling from your strike.
It's because like the fire is in between them and my companions, so like they don't have like a way to get in between.
Yes. And for your target here, do you want to let him choose whether he's going to mark fatigue, a condition, or shift his balance? Or do you want to force him to take a specific thing?
Yeah. Whatever makes the most sense for him, like getting his head bashed against the wall. I think.
Yeah. Sounds like you probably want to like really intimidate him into not moving rather than like wear him down.
Don't freaking put dust in my eyes again.
Yeah. So it's not, why don't you, that sounds like you want to mark a fatigue and have him inflict a condition, because that strike forces it, you're striking him where he is weak, which is obviously he's grappled and against a wall. You can just shove him in there. So he takes a condition. And because he's a minor NPC, that's his one condition that he can mark.
So now he's kind of like unconscious.
He's like, ugh, he's reeling, basically. If he takes anything else, he's done so.
Okay.
He's out of the exchange. Okay, so that's the two of you. And then the ambushers get to take their action. They are a group, which means that they get +1 technique based on their size. So normally they only get 1. But they're a group of minor NPCs, a small group of minor NPCs. There's only like 6 of them. So they get 2 techniques to pull out. And the techniques that they're going to use for advance and attack, obviously, are strike and I think pressure. So we've established you throw this scarf up to like throw them off, and it throws them off for a second. But they bend little flensing like stone darts through the scarf that she throws up. So she throws it up and they're like, and one of them like peppers it, and the scarf just gets cut to ribbons. And you look and you see they've got like little fistfuls of like stone balls in their tucked between their fingers that they've bent as these projectiles that like pepper things.
The dart goes out the window and hits like a cart, and then all the cabbages go flying. You just hear a guy in the background going, "My cabbages!"
Mandatory. So what they're gonna do is turn their attention to you, Chi, because you ran up, you made yourself a target. They are going to strike you. So another one of them pulls out a handful of these beads and skips these little stone BBs at you. Yeah. They're not gonna they're gonna hammer you with these blows. They really want to wear you down. They're like, hey, get back. Bam, 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 bam. So they mark a fatigue, and you have to mark 2 fatigue as a result.
Oh, 2?
Yeah. 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boo.
2
can play at that game.
Right. I can do this all day. So that's what they do. And then they also are going to pressure, which is to impress or intimidate you. So I think in addition, actually, no, they see Gian like leaping up. They're like, oh, this person's a threat. Okay. I think because they have a couple of different things on them. They got these like beads, obviously. One of them pulls out a hooked chain. So it's like a length of chain, like a kusarigama, basically. And like starts spinning it and like throws it just past you, Gian, and it hooks it onto like a banner and like yanks it back towards you. And then like takes a few steps and is like spinning it so fervently that it's creating like a barrier that's keeping you from getting close initially. I think it's just like throwing you off, not like you can't get close to attack, but is keeping you from blocking. They're going to prevent you from defending or maneuvering. It's like if you run somewhere, I can trip you up. If you try and like, you can't easily protect your arms or your limbs from this stuff. So that's what they're going to do.
All right.
And then nobody else was evading or observing. So that's that exchange. Is we see Delight and Justice running down the stairs, like evading out of danger. Quan shoves this person who's like, ugh, and as they're like woozy, manages to get the sand in your eyes, so you're like blinking that out. You spin that fire out, which kind of throws these guys back. Chi runs up the stairs, throws that scarf, and they're like, whoa. Chi manages to get a good foothold. The scarf gets cut to ribbons, and then they return fire at Chi, who's like, trying to block it and getting like clearly weathered by these pebbles bouncing off of your body. Gian pulls those columns down on top of them. Like, the initial assassins who were kind of caught in that are kind of thrown off and blinking the dust, while one of the bigger ones pulls out that chain and spins it and starts keeping you locked away. That all happens. What do you do in this moment now?
Continue attacking.
So it's next exchange, right, Simon?
What's that?
So it's next exchange, right?
Exchanges only happen when you want to do something and the other person wants to stop you from doing violence, or vice versa. So we're back in open role play. If you're like, I want to punch them in the face, we would probably drop back into another exchange.
I mean, I'm headed back to the main party to like let my family and guests know that there is, some kind of interference happening.
Yeah, and they've heard stuff. They heard like yelling up above. They're like, what did he say? Murder or something? What's going on? Crash as the pillars come tumbling down. So you're I think you're like running like, hey, there's people. Crunch. The house guards immediately.
Yeah, I was like, where are the rest of the house guards?
Yeah,
that's gonna be my next question. Okay.
Yeah. So I think they are rushing to like towards the stairway with spears, like ready to do something. You see Song like gets up and is furious. It's like, what is happening in here? Like, guards, get the stop this at once. Justice is like looking back over his shoulder and making sure that you're okay. Those of you up on the stairs, up on the balcony, they're sort of like watching you very carefully. But it's clear that they don't want to fight Chi and Gian. They're like, you're in the way. And so they're stumbling because they're impaired from that, like the dust of the crumbling column is in their eyes and stuff. So they're like trying to climb out of the rubble, and one of them yells to the others, "They're getting away!" And like points down at Delight and Justice on the first floor. For Quan, the person you're wrestling with is just like groggy, like is sort of like slumping in your arms. What do you all do?
I want to make sure that they can't give chase, that like Delight and Justice get away safely, and I want to try and hold them in this room if possible and not let them escape either, but that's secondary.
Okay, how do you want to do
that? In terms of like a technique?
In general, like fictionally, how do you want to hold them in place?
Okay, kind of watching carefully for any of them to like make a move either towards the door that Delight and Justice went out of, or for like an escape route, and just be ready like as soon as they do that to like either step physically in the way or like put something in the way to stop them getting anywhere.
like make a barrier or something like that.
Yeah. I'm now I imagine earthbenders have like earthbending mode where they're like, what in here can I manipulate? What's stone, what isn't?
Right. Well, now that you've got all this crumbled rock, there's tons of stuff that you can mess around with.
Check.
I think, yeah, if you want to try and block them from moving around, go ahead and that sounds like a rely on your skills and training. So roll with your focus.
Like pull up a wall.
Yeah, you like make a boundary for them.
Yeah.
Oh, 5.
Oh no.
Okay. Cool.
He's like,
Bro,
sweet.
I don't have much focus. I'm just like, I want to punch. Can I punch? I'm like, I need to stop him escaping. That's not punching. I'll do my best.
Yeah. I think you make this wall, right? And I think it would work on most of them. 2 of them managed to like kip up off of the wall as you're raising it.
Hardcore.
And they're like, okay, jump. And they use that to land on the ground floor. And they're within striking distance of Delight and Justice now.
Oh no.
No.
I done goofed.
Everyone else is blocked. They're like, oh shoot, we can't get through this.
Could
But
I
at
do
least
the-
one of them gets over.
For the one that gets over, could I just do an attack? Then
Like
to
what?
them?
Turn around and like bop them?
Yeah. Or like, cause they got through, or like not turn around, but I got knives. It doesn't have to be non-lethal.
But you could take them down, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
totally.
could,
I think I'm gonna divert, so defend a maneuver. I'm gonna like jump off the railing down, like, and land right in front of both of the Chens.
Yeah, it sounds like we're back in another exchange here. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
let's go.
Yeah.
Go in there. We tried to resolve this. It didn't quite go 100%.
Well,
What's up?
actually, idea.
Okay.
Could I somehow, like, instead, like that one that got away, I'm like, are you sure you're the only one here? Are you sure you don't want to just escape right now, friend?
Ooh,
Is
like,
that
intimidate
interrupting?
them?
Yeah, intimidate them to
Mm,
really want to do this. Every one of your other friends are behind this wall. You're the only one there, friend.
right. Go ahead and roll with passion. I think because you're on the stairs. You've turned around. You've got the knives. They like maybe you throw a knife
Yeah.
and like just miss on purpose to get
On
their
purpose.
attention. And they're like, "Do you want to do this? Are you sure? Because I can.
Yeah.
I got this. There's people around you."
All right, let's go. Ah!
Oh, 3.
It's even worse.
Oh no! Is this gonna be the round where we all fail?
We gotta swap jobs next
got
time.
it.
Dude,
We
our
gotta-
princess keeps getting captured. It's just gonna keep happening.
Oh no.
All right. Well, on a miss, things get complicated. Basically,
Yeah.
I, as the GM, get to make a move.
Okay.
So you're
alright.
trying to intimidate this person into like not fighting, right? Into just giving up.
Mm,
Right? I think. What's the interesting thing that happens here?
I didn't actually throw a knife. I accidentally threw a snoo or susu instead.
Oh,
Accidentally
no.
threw a susu. That could be a disadvantage.
I'm gonna use that.
Oh no! Why did I give that idea? It hurts.
Well, it's I think it's fun because I forgot that you have Susu, who's this little
Yeah,
ferret.
susu.
Susu is so desperate to help out that Susu has like in the midst of things crawled out of your body, or like not your body, out of your
Like-
clothing. Why did I say body? Like it's not like part of you. It's not like a bravest warrior's like animal weapon or whatever.
Oh no!
But has crawled out of your tunic and is like scrambled onto this person to try and intimidate them as well. Like, I'm gonna like bite at your clothes or whatever. And the assassin grabs Susu and just grips him
Rip
tight
Susu.
and like
Susu!
is holding Susu up like a trophy. Who's like scrambling but can't get out of this person's like tight grip. Mark a condition.
No.
So we have best. So to pull back with the curtain on what's happening here, she has a move called Best Friend, which gives you this awesome little pet who can do all kinds of fun stuff with you. And when your pal could help you push your luck, you can mark fatigue and roll with creativity instead of passion, which is awesome. You can kind of make things better with them. But if your pet ever gets hurt, you have to mark a condition. So Susu is like, help, like super in danger.
Oh, with his
And
little
they're like,
hands.
and they say, "Are you sure you want to do this?"
Oh, I'm afraid now. I'm very
So
afraid.
when the exchange picks up, the situation is this person is at a standoff holding the ferret, looking back at you, she on the stairs, has diverted their attention away from Delight and Justice, because clearly like this is an immediate like I have a bargaining chip with this one person at the very least. So what's everyone gonna do here?
I am going to evade and observe.
Okay, that makes sense. They can't attack this time because Quan thought of that. So what are they gonna do instead? That's a great question. What's everybody else doing?
Susu.
Kind of want to knock this guy out that I have in front of me, and then I want to jump off the balcony. But I don't know if I can do both of those things.
If you roll well on attack, I think you can.
Yeah, if you
right?
get a 10 plus, you can do both.
I can give myself a 10 plus.
There you go. You can. Yeah. Because you-
That's true, because it would be to
I have
defend it,
one
right?
more. I'm debating if I should use that or if I should hold on to it.
I mean, you know, in terms of the meta, like you don't have that much longer to use it. You know what I mean?
That's true.
Here's the
that's
thing that
true,
you could
that's
do
true.
is choose one approach and spend your hold not necessarily on the 10 plus, but to get to Delight no matter what.
Yeah.
So you could roll to it, you could advance an attack,
Oh yeah, because I
spend
can
the
track her
hold,
down.
and just jump down and be like, I know where you are. I would 100% let you do that because it's like so within theme, and it
Okay.
also sounds cool.
So I can roll first. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
All right, yeah, I'll do attack, advance
you're
and
gonna
attack. So I want to
advance
knock
attack.
this guy out, just because thought process here is if I knock him out, he can't leave, and we can question him later.
Right.
But in the moment, don't have time to question this guy. And then I also see like people advancing on Delight and Justice, and that's not good.
Yes. Okay. I know what they're gonna do.
I think I got to advance and attack again. I could evade and observe. Nah.
Hammer.
Yeah.
He's like, well, they're not gonna attack, so
They can't attack, right?
yeah. So it's better to
So
attack.
everyone who's defending and maneuvering is going to go first. The person who Quan is holding is going to try to seize a position, is going to try to defend and maneuver.
Makes sense.
So he'll go first with you,
Sorry, hiccups.
with the rest of you. And the other assassins are actually going to evade and observe, is the approach that they're going to take.
The hiccups.
So everyone who's defending, go ahead and roll plus your focus, which is none of you.
None of us.
Right.
I don't think.
Everyone who's advancing and attacking. Okay, so he's going to try and get away from you, basically. But he's so worn out. It's clearly really hard for him. You could mark a fatigue and just keep him in place for this moment. Or you could let him go.
Okay, so I have to either like mark a fatigue or let him
You
go.
either mark a fatigue and keep him restrained, or just let him wriggle out of your hands.
But I could still attack him if he.
Oh,
puts
yeah.
On me.
You're a firebender.
Okay.
You can still like. We've established you can like cast that body heat through the dagger you have and just blast him.
Yeah, I think I just let him go, and then I'm gonna smack him.
Right.
Oh, it's the
So he stumbles away.
The casual cool guys don't load explosions, like turn around, fire blasts, you know. Yeah, problem.
Between the dust in your eyes isn't like impeding you that much, but it is like enough that he can get kind of like and starts stumbling. He's like crawling away, pulling over like a vase, you know, as he's trying to get his bearings, but he's super stunned. So everyone who's advancing and attacking, roll with your passion.
Passion.
Oh,
9.
9? All right.
8.
Okay.
I'm gonna try to get Susu back. Yes, I can do it. I believe in myself. Please. Yeah.
All right. So each of you gets one basic technique, and Gian gets a potentially a master technique if you really want, but it's up to you. So in whatever order you want, go ahead and resolve those.
Go in our normal order. Chi, then Jian, and Quan. Our names. Qi, Jian, Chuan, Quan. I love it.
Yeah, well,
I'll let
I guess-
she go first and see if they can rescue Susu, and then if it doesn't work, I can try and help.
all right. I will go ahead. I think I'm just so afraid that they're gonna really hurt like Susu that I'm just gonna jump off with no like qualms to myself getting hurt, as long as I could take this person down. Like all technique is kind of thrown out the window, and I just full on like fight attack and go feral attack on them because I'm so afraid.
You just jump
I just jump. I'm like, no.
and try and wrestle him to the ground. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds like a strike. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to let them choose what to mark, or do you want to choose it yourself?
For a condition.
They either take 2 fatigue, a condition, or shift their balance, or you can mark a fatigue and make them mark 2 fatigue because you're like weathering them.
Yeah,
them
I'll take a fatigue because I'm not gonna let them get away. I'll take a fatigue for that.
Okay. And do you want to have them mark a condition or fatigue?
I would like them to get a condition, actually.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So I think they're going to mark afraid because this, as far as they know, court lady jumps out and just starts like screaming and biting and kicking this person. It's like, full avatar, like no expectation that this would happen. Like this is not how a normal person fights. Great. So you tackle this person, you start like biting and kicking.
Yeah.
Susu squeaks. Who's next? Gian, Quan.
Does it look like she's got the Susu situation under control?
That part seems under control. The
Okay.
rest of the assassins that are up on the balcony are still like trying to figure things out.
Okay, are there any that are downstairs apart from that one, or
No, just the one.
Okay, right. So it's I'll deal with the ones up here then. I think I go for strike as well.
Okay.
Just to conserve my strength for the potential like
The nuclear option.
yeah. I'll.
Do you want to let them
I'll let
mark
them
what
choose.
they will?
Yeah.
Okay.
See what
I think they're gonna take a condition as well, because they want to be mobile, but they're definitely getting worn out emotionally. I think they take angry. So what did you do to strike them?
I think so from some of the rubble from the
Yep.
from the pillar earlier, I'm gonna try and like pull some of it up to me, So I just have like a pile of little rocks, and I'm just gonna start like kicking up and just hurling little ones everywhere, just to to bombard them and keep them busy.
Punch, backhand kick, right, bam, bam. So you're just like wailing into them.
You're just like kicking up little things, and then just boom, like just an elbow shot and a punch, and then just like hurling these things with just as quickly as I can to just pepper them.
And the guy with the kusarigama like tries to deflect it, and the chain just goes like flying backwards, like like wait, boom, boom. Like there's more than they expected.
Like swing going on, and I'm just like hitting rocks into the chain and sending it flying.
Right. And he's getting battered backwards, and the rest of them are still like stumbling around because they're still thrown off. Quan, what do you do?
I'm imagining that. So these sconces on the wall have like it's like a emerald gem type of thing over it, but underneath is like a flame. That's what I'm imagining. Does that sound good?
That sounds great.
She just kind of stands there in the hallway as like this guy's like running, and she kind of lifts up the sconce thing with the flame inside of it and just knocks him in the back of the head with the gem.
You like use the heat to
like using the heat
thing
to propel it, like
boom.
an air balloon type of thing.
And there's just this little like cowbell thunk as it collides with the back of his skull, and he just collapses.
And then she like prepares to kind of like parkour off the side of the.
Right, you spend your hold to get down onto.
Yeah,
defensive
and she just
position.
jumps right in front of Delight and Justice in front of this guy who's running towards them.
You are 100% in there. And then everyone who's
in like
evading,
a stance.
And I am evading and observing, and I think I want to do the, I'm gonna have to like narratively position this a little bit, Simon.
Okay.
So stick with me here.
I'm sticking with you.
But the house guards are like coming.
They're on their way, yeah.
Like call, and I think like Delight is kind of like, scared. Obviously, like assassination attempt, right? Wasn't expecting this. Had other plans. But Quan's here, so it's cool. But I think I want to, in some way, like commit to tradition. On the list here, that shifts my balance. And then the next time I live up to that principle, I don't mark fatigue. But I want to do it in a way that's like, the reinforcements are coming. The house is like, like the family is protection, the family is safe, sort of thing. Like, and like that I'm like, sort of, trying to do that in a narrative framing of like committing to the principle of like the house's traditions.
Yeah. Okay, so there's a thing about that was that commit means you also shift your balance towards that principle.
Yeah.
So you'll lose your balance. Is that something you want to do?
I sure will.
Okay, that's great. I love it. So yeah, I think it totally makes sense that you're like tradition, the family. We have to trust in all of this stuff. But it's like it's getting to you. What does it look like as you recenter yourself towards that ideal?
I think she's sort of like as the sort of guards filter in, she looks more confident and like stands up a little straighter next to her brother, like official Chen family representative, and issues like a very song-like order of like seize them, they were trying to attack my brother and me, that kind of thing.
And there is so much confidence in that. I think that like surges into everyone around you. They see that for sure. So yeah, we're gonna deal with losing your balance at the end of the exchange.
Hooray!
Which is is fun because everything stacks up and then ticks.
I just wanted to lose my balance.
I think it's great. I love it. I think it says a lot about like the character development. The other people who were evading and observing were the assassins, who are going to bolster or hinder. They can only do one thing this turn because they got knocked back by being impaired by that pillar, which is going to be aid or impede nearby characters, inflicting inappropriate status. And what they're going to do, I think, is on top of everything else that's happening, they're just so overwhelmed. They're like, we got to get out of here. And I think they pull out similar like pouches of dust that everyone else had, the initial assassin had, and they just huck it on the ground, and it comes out in these thick like smoke clouds that just start like choking out that upper balcony, and they're gonna stun Gian, who's up on the balcony with them. So you can't act or respond for a couple of seconds until you steady yourself.
Okay.
We drop out of the exchange. Everyone else is fine. The NPC who was running away gets taken out at this point mechanically because he's overfilled his condition track, so he's done. He just collapses unconscious. These guys are in smoke. You can't see where the rest of the assassins are up on the top left, and that's not stopping the guards who are running up like, hey, get up in there, get in there, like they're shoving past. I think there's an earthbender with them who drops the wall that Gian made as they like rush in, and they start fanning out like, find them, and they're like running through the smoke, jabbing with their spears, but they're not hitting anything, and you kind of see silhouettes passing past them, but it's hard to track the motion. The assassin down below holding Susu like, let's go. Susu's like, in the fight, like, get off me, stop biting me, you you monster, you animal. And Susu like scrambles up and like climbs up onto your shoulder, Chi, and is just like, like, get him, egging you on. Quan, you're in a perfect position to like clean this up, basically. Like you could pull the two of them apart, but basically this guy's done. He is no longer a threat. If you don't want him to be, there's no roles or anything involved. You can just suppress him.
Yeah,
100%.
I think Quan would.
Yeah, you just grab him and cuff him effectively. But Delight,
Little flame cuffs.
hot, painful,
Spicy cuffs.
very spicy
cuffs. Yeah.
Delight.
Yes.
So your balance shifts over the edge of the track, which means
It
you lose your
does.
balance. You're going to obsess over that principle to a degree that is not healthy to you or anyone else around you. So you're going to choose to either give in or submit to your opposition, lose control of yourself in a destructive and harmful way, or take an extreme action in line with the principle that you exceeded, and then flee the scene.
Okay. I think. I mean,
I don't think you would give in for sure.
No, I think it's definitely, one of the other two. I'm just trying to find it so I can read it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I think it's probably the extreme action, right? Like, I think she leaves with, like the confidence of somebody in charge of this situation and in their own house, which is very unusual for her. Like she's not that kind of person. Like Quan would notice for sure, like 100% that she was acting like very different. And I think probably she goes to talk to her father as like the destructive action, quote unquote, to her current situation. Once like things clear down, but I can't do it like immediately, I would say. I don't know exactly how that would work, but she leaves the scene for sure.
Yeah, one way or another, like you're either kind of out of the fiction. It doesn't mean that you like collapse, but you can, if you take extreme action and then flee, you do something like intense, and then you're out of the scene for a moment.
I think she's
Um,
like very well. I mean, I did the whole like she orders the house guards to like seize people and like just generally, like sort of acts a little bit authoritative, which is unusual for her.
mhm.
And then I think she leaves, and there's this like look over her shoulder, back over at Quan as she's like stepping out because the situation is kind of resolving. That probably reminds her of Song.
Yeah. I wanna push it like a little bit more into the extreme thing too. Is like it's not just that
course.
you're taking charge, right? But maybe how do we see Song reflected in Delight in that
I
moment?
think it's overly harsh.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Like a lot
yeah.
of it is like it's like not only authoritative but like demanding and
Agree.
what would I call it? Like brutal almost when it comes to like dealing with this threat to her and her family.
Right. Like, are you sure you want to do this? And like, this is my
and
house.
all-
Are you
all- yeah.
questioning my orders?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And all of this is coming off the back of her like fear.
Yeah.
Like you can tell that it was like she was worried about the situation, and that spurred to action this like leaning into this like very overreactive, like harsh traditionalist attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what it should be. Yeah.
Awesome. So we see this montage of just like vicious commands barked, and like you're gonna put this person away, and you're gonna make sure they know not to do this again. We will not have this. And we see these moments, maybe even as Quan is watching this happen, because you're deliberately making eye contact with Quan at some point. I think we see a flashback to a similar attempt on Song's life early on in his career, maybe not in the house, but like on a trip, like on a ship or something like that, and someone tries to ambush him, and the way that the there's like a kind of a picture-in-picture, like side by side, of the two of them like directing the guards in the same way, in like barking orders and like, are you questioning me? I gave you an order. This is the way that things are done. Like, I'm a Chen. You don't answer. You don't question me. Do you know who I am? That is like, whew, we see that history. And then you leave. You're done. Like, you're ghost out of this scene.
Yeah.
Like, the party is over. The guards are like keeping things in
well
hand.
over.
Right. It's well over. When we pick up the scene and when we see you next, it's going to be like well past that. But I think the aftermath of this is like, there's chaos. People are like climbing over each other to kind of get out of the party. Song is like, it's all right. I'm very sorry. This won't happen again. Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, what can I pay you to like make up for this gross embarrassment or whatever? Yeah, I think we flash forward to like later that night, after this debacle. What did Quan, Chi, and Jian do after this happened?
I want to interrogate that guy.
Yeah. Okay, let's start there.
Ooh, flash to some holding cell somewhere, like
Yeah.
Some fancy holding cell.
Sounds like a plan. I'm down.
Or the two of you also there? Did you go along?
I mean, if they, we got this guy who tried to torture Susu, tried to kill Susu. I'm down for revenge.
Yeah, you got
only if Quan allows us to come in and join, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we're not gonna hurt them. We're just interrogating them.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're not. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. We're not.
We're not coming in to
not
like
hurting.
murder them in their cage.
No, yeah, no, we're not.
They're in prison now for show. I
Yeah,
don't know if they're ever gonna get
yeah.
out. That's a whole
Yeah.
hot mess that they got themselves into.
Totally. That's also was on the same page. I was on totally the same page.
But if you want to secretly go find that other guy, I mean, I won't be there. I didn't see anything.
So then we would cut to, we've established that you have this below ground layer to the Chen compound hole
Yeah,
situation.
every evil character needs.
So I
know
think
it, you know
we're
it.
in that one of those lower levels, somewhere underground in this holding cell. Because of course, a dangerously influential family that's involved in the military has like a
Personal
small
jail.
private jail. Yeah, we're learning about the Chens a lot.
They're bad.
Yeah, so there's two of them. There's the guy that Quan wrestled with, and there's the guy that she wrestled with. So he's got, one of them's got bandages on the arms from like the bite marks, and the other one is like has a cloth or something over his forehead where the lantern bonked him.
Yeah.
But they're restrained, obviously. So they're like tied up in two chairs, and they're coming to as you're standing over them. What do you do?
Quan kind of hits the table and makes like a loud thumping sound and says,
Huh.
"Are you awake?"
Bite Marks says, "I am now."
Good. Who sent you?
He stares kind of defiantly at you, but looks nervously over at Chi. He kind of like pulls back as you gnash your teeth.
I assume that Chi and Gian are in their regular clothes now, or like not.
Oh, has it been that long?
It's
Has
been
it-
like
oh.
an hour,
You
2
could've
hours,
changed,
maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you
we
could've
would have
changed.
changed back now.
A flicker of light kind of like comes in front of them, like close enough not to burn their face, but like for them to feel the heat. And Quan says, "Tell me now."
Yeah. He Bite Marks, it responds to that immediately. It's like he's been through a lot. And he like jumps back like, okay. What are you aren't you what are you doing here? Are you a spy? Is this a Fire Nation compound? What is?
I'm not a spy.
You're a firebender.
Yes, and firebenders live in various places. I'm a bodyguard to the Chen family. I'm the one asking the questions.
And he's like
Who?
feels the heat.
Sent you.
Nobody. We all agreed we're part of an order.
What is this order?
We are part of the Badger Mole Society who wants to bring Ba Sing Se back to the way things should be.
And who are you to say what should be?
What should be are people who aren't living in fear. And we should not be supporting a war. We shouldn't be feeding weapons to the enemy. You know that.
Weapons to the enemy.
Oh,
What?
don't
What
play
is
dumb.
you say you speak of?
The Chens have been supplying arms to the Fire Nation for years.
What?
What?
We all look
Oh, no.
questioningly.
All of you are like, oh. Why doesn't everyone mark a condition?
That makes sense, yeah.
Whatever you
Yeah.
want,
Oh.
whatever makes sense in this moment.
I mean, high technology, that makes sense. You know?
Bullish. Yeah.
I'm
Wait,
gonna
what if you
tick
have two
angry. We're
conditions?
gonna.
I think guilty.
Mm.
Quan's gonna feel guilty. Because if that's the case, then she's been letting this happen underneath her.
Yeah, and I think Bite Marks like realizes that and like actually softens, like, by the spirits, you didn't know.
Of course
They had
not.
you here all this time and you didn't. Of course they wouldn't. Why would they tell you that? I just thought maybe you'd been working with Delight for so long that you'd have to. And he trails off.
You people know about the war?
We're trying to stop it.
Just like face palms and like leans on a wall.
My
Well-
companion here is frustrated. We have just recently found some information that corroborates your story.
We didn't know about any
But this-
weapons.
Correct.
Bandage, headache, I'm gonna call him. They'll get names if they become more important to the story. Headache like is kind of come to and is like, yeah, that's why I'm here. Justice Chen is leading up the production of the armaments. He's been overseeing sales and shipments back to the Fire Islands.
Do you have proof of this?
We have people on the inside who've seen it.
Where are these ships that you speak of?
Not here. They come out of the bay. What is the? I can't remember the name. It's on the East Coast, basically. That's one way to do it. It takes a long time to loop around, but we were told, we've seen that the Chens have been working with members of the Fire Army, exchange information and supplies and goods back and forth to cement power. I don't know, but they're keeping the war going and they're making sure that you're going to be on the winning side. The Chens, that is.
Quan kind of like steps back a little bit. The fire that was flaming in front of the person just withers away. And she like kind of looks down a little disappointed.
Do you know what's going on in the walls with the Ruby, Jasmine? Do you know of anything?
We heard that a lot of the citizens in the lower ring were going in for these parties or tastings or some kind of event. People would come back and they wouldn't remember things. They would be different. It was like they were in a trance.
I think she's gonna go ahead and look them very closely in the eye. I don't have this as a feat or skill or anything, but I'm gonna ask them again to repeat, to say what the Chens are doing. They are providing. So you confirm to me right now, and that's just looking really uncomfortably close. Just that they are giving weapons to the Fire Nation.
They're trading. Like, Bite Marks really doesn't want to fight with you anymore. And I think Susu is like crawling out of your tunic occasionally, and like is like, okay, I don't want to deal with this anymore. But it's like, yes, they trade good weapons back and forth with the Fire Nation. Fire Nation provides them with information. I mean, it's a symbiotic relationship for the two of them, it seems like.
Can't believe this.
And I don't know what they're doing with the jasmine, but I've heard that anyone that drinks the stuff, it's like they get stuck in a dream state. They're just so passive. They don't want to do anything. I can show you if you don't believe me.
One raises her hand and says,
We don't need you to show us.
Why are we still here? Why are we still alive? You work for the Chens, but it seems like you don't believe in what they're doing.
I would bite your tongue if I were you. And you're lucky you're alive. I will try to see to it that you stay that way. John, you have any other words for these fellows? Otherwise, I think we should. We have many things to talk about.
How do we find more people like you? People that are trying to stop the war? Is there a place you gather, or a phrase or something?
It smiles. We're right underneath you. What do you know? You're outsiders. You must not know. Ba Sing Se used to be a quarry. That's how they made their wealth. Their caves, these crystals, and he gestures to the lights. These came out of the earth. People dug here for years. They sold them to various people, made a lot of money. Those caves are still down there. The old city is still down there. You can find us where Ba Sing Se's history begins. I think we
all
cut.
Ken says, he's just lost in thought.
Yeah.
Quan is mad.
Yeah. I'll bet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We jump, I think, to Delight. It's been a few hours. Where are you?
Yeah.
Where did you go to blow off steam?
I mean, when she needs like some moments to herself, it's always her room. You know,
Mhm.
like it's where all the tinkering can be done.
Right.
But I think she's also like feeling a little bit how would I put it, like rattled by the events of the day. Everything was going so well, and then it stopped going so well. And I either need to finish my conversation with Justice, or I need to speak directly to Song Chen. Like, those are the two things that you can pick which one happens, but one of those two things.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna redo Justice because that got cut off, and I want to see where that goes.
Okay.
So after you've had some time to recover from losing your balance, you're gonna recenter yourself, which means your center shifts one step closer to whatever principle you exceeded. So now instead of your center being at 0, your center is permanently +1 tradition, -1 progress.
Yep.
So whenever you reset, you'll go to that. So your balance track right now should be also +1 tradition, -1 progress.
Got it.
And that can shift. You can take advances to shift your center as well. If you lose your balance again in either direction, it'll shift as well. But you also clear all your conditions and fatigue if you have
Hooray!
any. And your balance resets.
I'm not foolish anymore.
I'm no longer feeling foolish. Yeah, so there's a knock on your door, and it's Justice.
She gets up from her like desk and goes over and opens the door, and lets Justice in, and like closes it behind him.
Yep.
Well, that was certainly something.
Yeah, I have to admit I wasn't expecting something so crass or overt. Are you all right?
I'm
Where's my
fine,
card?
but
What?
You're not muted, Maggie.
I'm on a show, Brandon.
Meg, we can hear you, Maggie.
Oh, sorry.
no. I think it's like I don't know. I'm fine, but if that's the only way they have to communicate what they want, then something isn't working.
What, those people? You don't need to worry about them.
I mean, I think I do. They came to do us harm. Are you just gonna leave me in the dark on this? You know what's going on.
He is so conflicted, and you can see that on his face. He's like, yeah, like you're right. He knows you're right. Go ahead. I think you're trying to call him out.
I feel it's a call out. Yeah.
Yeah. He's your brother. I think you know what he believes in. I think you know what his principle is as a family member.
What is his principle, Simon?
I think it's trust.
That makes
That's
sense.
like what he believes in above most things.
There's a lot of secrets going around.
Right. And he's like, I want to trust people and I can't. So
right.
Which is why it's really great when he has these connections with you, because he can't do it with the rest of his family.
I'm gonna roll. Three.
Okay. Well, you shift your balance away from center, so it either goes towards progress or tradition, whichever one you want.
But also, doesn't it depends on like what principle they call me on, I think.
It's what you're calling him on. So you're calling him to live up to trust, to you need to let me in. So you first shift your balance away from your center, depending on what direction you're going in here.
I mean, this is family stuff again, so it feels like tradition.
Okay, so you're at +2 tradition then.
I don't want to keep going towards tradition.
On a miss, he can demand that you act in accordance with one of your principles instead, and either mark a condition or act as he requests. And so,
okay,
I think what is he going to call on you to do? You're telling him,
I've got progress or tradition.
Yeah, you got to listen. You got to let me in, basically. I think he's so torn up here. He's gonna pull you on tradition.
No.
And you either mark a condition or act as he requests. I think he is like you can't leave me in the dark on this. And he turns to you and snaps, but very painfully. He's starting to cry. And he's like, "Don't do that to me, Delight. I am trying so hard to keep everything together, to keep father from snapping at everything that moves, to keep the rest of the family in place. I want nothing more than to help you. When I told you the game is played a certain way, I don't want to lie to you, but I'm telling you that everything in our family has a place. And right now, you need to stay in yours.
I think she takes a moment on that and like can see that he's like really upset, obviously. And she like nods, like dips her head a little. And then she says, everything has a place, but I don't know what mine is. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Or Father just said that I'm supposed to take on more responsibilities, that I'm supposed to be a member of this family, like publicly now, that my embarrassments will be all the more embarrassing and my triumphs all the more beneficial. If I don't know what's happening, then I can't do any of that. And you say that there's a way the game is played. Let me play on your team.
God, that's so good. It sounds like you were marking a condition and not backing off.
It does, yeah.
So go ahead and take whatever you think. And he is like both eyes, two simple streams. And that last thing you said, like, let me play on your team, like just hits him right in the gut. And he just sinks onto your bed with his hands in his lap. And he finally looks back up at you like, Delight, if I tell you, there's no going back.
She runs a hand through her hair and like makes an exasperated noise. And says, nothing is that bad.
And he cocks his head in this sort of like a crestfallen way.
You can also tell that she means this like with justice.
Yes.
You know, like
yes.
the two of us will be friends. Like
yes.
Yeah.
And so he's sitting there watching you. It's like there's a chasm between the two of you, even though you're only like 2 feet apart. And he takes a sigh. He's like, you're right. We are monsters. Delight. Those things they said, they're not lies. Father wants to cement the Chens in the history of Ba Sing Se. We've been a part of it for as long as anyone can remember. He knows what's going on, the way that you and I know what's going on. You know that this war can only end one way. The Avatar is never coming back. It's up to us to make our own fate. And if that means that we sell our souls to keep our family alive, And that's what we're going to have to do.
So, we're not working with the city, then we're not. Father's not.
We're going to let them win. We're going to put the winning game pieces in their hands. We've already given them some. You saw the walls broke.
Yes. So, is that why? She like looks like she's trying to like process it because she wasn't in the interrogation room. She doesn't know any of the like stuff that has been revealed to the rest of the party. And she says, so is that why with the Ruby Jasmine, the keeping the citizens here like subdued, trying to keep the war away from the city? I thought that was for the best, for Bossing Say, to keep everything safe and for there not to be any panic. Is it just a sedative?
There won't be panic if the plan works. It's not my project, but the Ruby Jasmine does keep people calm. The hope we started when the Dragon of the West came to the walls, when we thought that we might lose everything. He backed down, but we kept the project going because it seemed to be working. That stuff that Minister Li Jing is working on, it keeps them calm. It keeps anyone who drinks it calm. For as long as they keep it up. The thought was, if an army was going to invade, if the population couldn't fight back, if they didn't want to fight back, we could transfer power without spilling any blood.
It's a lot to wrap my head around. She looks like, she wants to argue, but she wants to, like console her brother, but she wants to, there's just like a lot of emotions. And she says, when you said you already gave some of the winning pieces to them, what did you mean?
Anyone who's been on the front lines might have already seen them. Weapons, armaments, developments in their vehicles, armor.
That's coming from us?
Not all of it. Fire Nation is quite capable on their own. But we've given them tools to handle some of our strengths. They have ways of getting around our defenses or compensating for earthbending.
She like turns away from him and like paces a couple of steps like back into the room and then sort of turns back around to face him and says, we don't have to do it this way. We don't have to give up the city. We don't have to give up all of our people.
How are we going to fight a nation, Delight? We're two people.
We could be a whole city. if everybody was actually aware of what was happening, if people knew that danger was coming, maybe they could make a choice. Maybe they could choose whether or not they wanted to put their lives on the line for Ba Sing Se. But right now they don't have one. Father and the minister and you're making the choices for them. And that seems wrong. If they all agree that there's no hope, then there's no hope. But that shouldn't be up to just you, just Father, just Minister Li Zhang. And I guess just me.
He slowly rises to his feet. And I think he looks out the window at the city. And without turning back, it says, sometimes people need someone to make a choice for them. If it means people won't die. Do you think I know we're not letting people choose? If they choose, they suffer. And then he turns back to you. He's like, but maybe you're right.
My friends have told me how things have been going outside these walls, Justice. And it's not better. Letting the Fire Nation win will not save anybody from suffering. They'll do whatever they want once they're inside these walls. Even a deal with us doesn't mean anything. Father might think that they are gonna pay some kind of favor to the Chen family for helping. That's not how they do things. The other cities, the other villages, the other parts of this kingdom that we're supposedly part of here in this city have been suffering already. It's already done. This is like trying to wrap tape around a pipe that's already burst hours ago. It won't matter. We need to get people informed. We need to tell them what's happening. And you can either help me or I'll do it myself.
And he crosses towards you from the window. You're going to have to make a lot of choices on your own. You're going to have to do a lot of things on your own. But that's later. As long as I'm here, we do things together. He offers a hand.
She bypasses his hand entirely and gives him a big hug, arms around the waist.
And he returns the hug, and he just whispers, "We fight together."
And I'm not gonna
That's what family does.
And I'm not gonna let you sell your soul. And then she steps back from this like hug, and like as the sort of final part of the scene, she says, whatever you're doing right now with Father, it has to stop. And like we can fade out on that if you want.
Yeah.
You know, like.
And there's that. I think whatever you're doing with Father, snap cut to Song Chen walking through the halls. Cut back to you. It has to stop. He looks pained, but like, I understand, and he starts to nod. Cuts back to Song, who has a scroll in his hand, and he tucks it into a black and red feathered crow that has a little twisting fire symbol around its neck on a necklace. And he throws it into the air, and the bird flies off into the night sky. Cut to black.
It like covers the moon and the
Yes,
darkness.
yes.
Yeah,
Flies
yeah,
over the
yeah.
moon. Black. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. So
Bam.
good.
Oh damn. Okay.
Yeah.
A lot of shit's going down. We
Dang.
kind of knew it though. We knew there's some shady
Knew there
stuff
was-
going
I
down.
don't know they were selling weapons.
No, we didn't know,
Yeah.
but like she predicted this, and then me.
Well, but I
and,
just said the things. I didn't.
I know you were
really
just saying
think.
it, but Delight and I were like offended at first, and then later I'm like, what if she's right?
Oh,
And then
shit.
now it's like, shit.
I
right.
regret what I said.
Oh no. The budge tongue again. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll go
Oof.
through our outro comments. Let's do the announcements. Announcements for today. There's stuff out on the Patreon. The monthly recap for October's out, and the character sheets for this game are out, so you can take a look at our stats and our moves, and all that kind of thing. You can also soon see NPC name submissions going up, and also a bunch of Ascension stuff. Just tons of different things from me for Ascension. Also, soon up on the Patreon there'll be a thing where you can submit some details to get a special gift for the holidays. And also, of course, we are sponsored by Roll20, which we use today to play the game. And it means we can just be like, push a button, it does the move. Except the part where it's not been updated for the current combat stuff. But otherwise, it's great. Let's go through where you can find everyone, what everyone is up to in the coming week and so on. How about our GM for a start? Simon, what are you up to?
Hey everybody, I'm Simon. You can find me on Twitter at Lucha Libris. I write and publish tabletop role-playing games at colorspreadgames.itch.io. I am a voice actor for the queer sci-fi and fantasy audio drama, The Penumbra Podcast. If you want to hear yourself represented in stories, that's at The Penumbra Pod on Twitter, thepenumbrapodcast.com. And aside from that, I GM for Magpie. I'm a Discord over on the Magpie Discord, and I do some freelance writing. So keep a look for some of my stuff in some upcoming games.
Right, Maggie, what are you up to? Where can we find you?
Hi, I'm Margaret Crone. You can find me at Margaret Crone in all of the places. Super duper easy. I do lots of tabletop RPG stuff, so if you're interested, follow and I will take you along on this journey. The next game I have should be Tuesday around 6 p.m. Pacific over on the Bubbernauts channel. We're playing Pathfinder if you're interested in checking that out. I play a sorcerer named Oz who has a giant pecker. So, you know, good times. And I love Simon's face. And I make video games for a living. Well, games in general, but the game that I'm currently working on is called Ashes of Creation, and you can find it at Ashes of Creation in all of the places. That's me.
Right, Elf, what about you?
Hello, I'm Distracted Elf. You can find me at twitch.tv/DistractedElf or on Twitter at DistractedElf. I play a couple of other tabletop games at the moment over on my own channel. One being Blades in the Dark, House of the Rising Sun. We're on the early episodes of that, so it's super fun. Criminal action. And then I also play in The City is the End, which is sort of like a creepy sci-fi city of moving parts, or not sci-fi, but fantasy city of moving parts and mystical unanswered questions and danger. And we're using this Eye-Hander system for that.
And Banzai, what are you up to?
Hello, everybody. If anyone's curious on how to either make wood turn pens or make a chessboard out of wood, just like from start to finish, that's what I'm going to be doing this week. Just hammering all of that stuff out. I also play a lot of other role-playing games on different channels. You could just follow me on the Twitters. It's the easiest way to figure out where the heck I'm going to be popping up. But yeah, if you mostly just want to relax while somebody randomly screams at either something being on fire in the kitchen or something dropping and getting resin everywhere, that's me. That's me.
And I am Bentham. You can find me in various places that are for some reason called Mangled Pork and Mangled Pork Gaming on Twitch and YouTube, where I play games. I'm doing a lot of multiplayer streams recently. Sometimes on Tuesdays we do some Space Engineers. We missed it this week, maybe next week. On Fridays we usually play Phasmophobia, but I definitely slept through the entire stream yesterday. And then on Sundays, maybe I'll make it to tomorrow's stream. We'll be playing Barotrauma multiplayer. So I'm up to, and one day I'll find some time to do a single player stream again. It's been months. I got so many games I want to show to people, but we'll see. We'll see if I manage it. I'll probably just end playing Kenji the whole time. That's what I'm doing now. But that's me. Right, we're gonna go do an after show, which you can of course find on the Patreon in the coming days. And otherwise, next time you'll catch Roll For It will be on Thursday with Dungeons and Dragons Ascension. And you'll of course catch us next week, same time, same place, for episode 4. So thanks you all for watching, and may the dice roll ever in your favor.